Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. Um, Despite the fact that the title of this stream is wrong, it says the 5th, it's the 12th. Remember to put the 12th down in the description there. Let's check the audio, make sure that you guys can hear me, and then we can get an article on screen. Set this back to live, it's spinning. All right, that's working. And after I get this up, we'll check the chat. Yes. All right. And then why did it jump the way it did? Doesn't matter because we're going to fix this display. Yeah, there we go. And let's open up chat. So there are still some articles stuck in my phone because somebody wouldn't let me have both of my hands so I could get them into the notebook so I could get them on here. So we'll kind of get to them as we get to them. But let's start. So this one is one that I missed last week. And then it made the rounds again because it turned out that the people who discovered this were paid by Tesla. And what this is that they the researchers, they found that part of the reason for the self-discharge on the lithium-ion batteries and lithium iron phosphate and all the other modern chemistries is that the tape they use to hold the internals of the cell together were actually allowing we're actually allowing the some of the electrons to end up where they shouldn't be, and we're causing the battery to self-discharge over time, which was kind of cool to see that they found it, considering who was funding them. That hopefully on the next couple cars soon we'll see that they use a different tape that doesn't don't fall, baby. A different tape that doesn't cause the self-discharge, or at least not as much. We'll see. And I liked one of the summaries of, I don't know if it was these guys on Tesserati or the researchers themselves, or another article where they said, being able to pay attention to these things that everybody overlooks because we've been doing it this way forever, perhaps could yield even more benefit. Yeah. All right. So I think that was, yeah. So they found that the electrolyte was glowing red under certain tests, and then they decided they were going to sample it and figure out why. And then here is in the Journal of Electrochemical Society. You gonna take my headphones off? Really? All right then. Oh, all right. So I don't know if chat is working or not. I know that we're not on Facebook today. I think we're on Facebook next week. Oh yeah, and so for those of you about to watch a football game, or those of you that are watching us on replay because of the football game, whose name I apparently not allowed to say without getting sued, I hope your team does well. Yeah. Now, is that weird? Because I know that you guys are on both sides. Yes, it is. But doing well, doesn't necessarily dictate a particular outcome. I don't even know who's playing. I saw this really bad advertisement from the Ram EREV. That was they call it ED, electro prematurity something or other. Anyway, they were trying to make a medicine ad, and and in it they actually were saying that everybody else jumped to electric trucks too early, which really is just a fine way of them saying that they jumped to electric trucks too late. Can we not squeal? Thank you. You ready for a nap? I think you should nap. She was asleep before this, and now she's still tired, but is very much awake. Mom's downstairs. Don't eat that. Wait, let's move on to something else. Not chewing on that. Still not chewing on that. Still not chewing on that. Come on. Seriously. Thank you. You ready for a little walk? Why don't you go for a little walk? Go find mommy. There you go. Just this over. I'm right here. You tell me bye bye. You play with your toy. All right. You telling your toy bye bye. You telling me bye bye. Bye bye. All those books. Yes, bye bye. Yes, bye bye. So next up, you stand up. Mhm. So next up, Electrify America has themselves a little bit of a shakeup. Yes. Good evening, Anders. How are you doing today? She's still in the doorway. Bye, baby. Bye bye. Yes. So this has been a while since I read this one. Electrify America taps new CEO as the current chief becomes EA chairman and VW Group exec. So EA, new CEO, and the old guy becomes chairman. So they're pulling a Toyota. The old guy is moving into a more prestigious but less influential role, allegedly. Oh, you're back. Welcome back, baby. Play your toy. Okay. All right, so it might get a little musical behind me there. So anyway, this guy, Giovanni Palazzo is going to be the chairman, and Rob Barossa will now be the CEO. Hopefully, it will address some of their reliability issues. We'll see. Because if they keep frying people's cars and trucks, they won't be doing so well. And for those that aren't aware, Electrify America and Electrify Canada sprung from the Volkswagen Dieselgate punishment. So people keep alleging that the reason they act the way they do is because they don't really care, which is a very real possibility. You want in your bed, baby? You want in your bed? Hmm. Oh, you don't even want to stand up. Oh, you do want to stand up. Okay, there you go. You got it. That's a hard toy on the other side of this flip in. She's making faces in the mesh. Blah. Hi, baby. You got it. Oh, but that toy's in your way. What are you gonna do now? gonna move the toy out of the way. That's what he's gonna do. Now what? You coming here? What does that smile mean? It's mischievous. Just making mischievous smiles at me. Mhm. Peekaboo. So the next story is this one. How did I phrase this one? I called it sales. I mean, it is, but I think I would have said more than just sales. All right, so this is a clear look at EV versus hybrid sales. Let's make it a little bigger. And we can see that yes, BYD has more, excuse me, new energy vehicles than Tesla. I don't know if this is just in China. No, it's global. Better? That's out of your way now? Okay. Come to see me? Get off the servers. Are you coming to see me? Maybe? Moto. You gotta be inside to play those toys. You want in your bed? What? Here. No, don't touch the servers. Come on. Come here. Ah, no. Oh. What were you planning to do? There's nothing to play with on that side. Okay, I'll push it down here. Oh. All right, so then we can see that Tesla is actually beating BYD in electric sales and everybody else, and several of the next groups combined, including the Wuling. So that's GM, including the Wuling, Hong Mini, and friends. Stellantis is substantially hybrid, as is BYD. Volkswagen still has more hybrids than you expect. Interesting. Leap Motor is all electric. Xpeng is electric. Neo's electric. Great Wall has some hybrids left. CHJ must be a Chinese thing. They are all hybrids. Hozon. Ford's actually doing all right. I guess they have less hybrids than electrics now that they don't make any cars, except the Mustang Classic. And GAC, that's a GM and somebody else collaboration, as is SAIC. Interesting. So anyway, that was what I wanted to share there, the global sales volume, and I wanted to point out how much Tesla did in relation to BYD, even though BYD claims to sell more new energy vehicles. But don't forget, new energy vehicles is hybrids, start-stop, plug-in hybrids, all of that. And let's see if there are any comments we're looking at here. You can tell BYD leaped up like that due to converting existing lines to PHEV. Yeah. And because BYD adds massive capacity to its production every year. Okay. They did transition something like 90% of their cars manufactured to PHEV and EV in the first year as well. All right, why is this thing spinning here? Click live. And it says we're still there. Okay, so continuing on. Let's go on to the next article, and then we'll load up a batch more. It's not really an article, is it? It is a tweet. There we go. So Larry Goldberg says, each year I summarize the prior year warranty claims experience for Tesla. This often brings cries of foul from Tesla Q, but I deal with their fondest delusion in the fourth table. The fact is there's considerable reserve or profit margin buried in Tesla's warranty reserve. So let's look at this chart. Now, I'm not sure how much of this is because Tesla just denies claims, but clearly, from what we see here, they are also getting better at making a car that doesn't need as much warranty work. Yes, they still aren't the best at initial quality, but they're clearly not the worst anymore either. And so we can see from 2018 to behind my head is 2022. On the left side is accrued warranty provision in millions of dollars on the left, and I guess they're both in millions of dollars. And on the bar charts, we can see how much warranty in blue they've set aside, and in orange, how much warranty they've actually used by actual cost incurred. So we can see that yes, more than ever are being warranty repaired, but don't forget they've had record year after record year in sales, and then uh, the how much they've set aside seems to be pretty static. On a per car basis. And then later on in the thread, the guy points out that, in fact, Tesla is best in class when it comes to global auto OEMs warranty reserves as percentage of actual claims. So what he's saying there is that they have more money set aside for warranty repairs than anybody else, as compared to what they actually used. So here's the next chart. So here we can see global auto OEMs warranty reserve percentage of actual claims in 2021 and the warranty week of 10 to 22. And let's move me out of the way here. There we go. So, so 300%, no, 250, 200, 150. And so there's Tesla there, a scoosh over 200. And then there's Honda down here. Honda's had a lot of eating into their warranty reserves there. One thing that comes up again later in the thread is not necessarily that any of these folks are using more of their warranty as much as what we'll see is that they just have lower reserves. And we'll see that in just a moment here. So in actual warranty claims rate, Tesla is in a league of its own compared to other US OEMs, Ford and GM, and is aligned with Honda, Nissan, and Toyota in terms of global OEMs. So the difference between them and Honda on these charts so far is that Honda puts aside less warranty money per car than Tesla does. But we can see that Honda actually has more warranty repairs than Tesla does here. And then let's see who we've got. Volkswagen, oh my goodness, 4.5%. Then you've got Kia at 3%. Volvo and Ford at just under 3%. Same for GM. Then you've got Mercedes, Hyundai, and then BMW is a skosh under 2.5%. All of Stellantis, so that's the European, Asian, everything, including North American. You got Honda, Nissan. I didn't realize that Nissan did less warranty work than Honda. That's impressive. And then Toyota is beating Tesla at 1%, whereas Tesla's a skosh over 1%. There you go. So let's move on to the next part of this. Here is the data source for the Tesla warranty reserve graphs. In the past, Tesla Q claimed that Tesla categorizes its warranty repairs as goodwill, hiding the true cost of warranties in services. The consistently improving services GP shown in row 16 puts that FUD to rest. All right, so here we go. We got Tesla's 10K filing for 2018 to 2022. Vehicles in fleet by 1,000, I guess. Yeah, I guess that worked by 1,000. Yeah, because there's a million there. So in 2018, they sold 246,000, had negative gross profit. In 2022, they sold 1.37 million and had 4% gross profits. Gross profit percent, sorry. And let's see here. Here you can see the fleet warranty totals in millions and the actual costs incurred and the accrued warranty provision. So here it's 2018, they've been making cars for a couple of years by this point. So that's how much is in the bank. That's how much they actually used, and that's how much they set aside that year. And this trend only continues. So the reserve has accrued to $3.5 billion dollars, and their actual warranty costs were 800 million, and they set aside 1.6 million, 1.68 million that year to do warranty work. Not bad. All right, so let's move on to the next section here. The difference recorded as profit at the end of each period. Accumulated difference has no meaning. Not quite. So that's what he says right here. So that is incorrect. The difference accumulates as a reserve and does not impact profit, which is why it's called a warranty reserve. Another good thing about letting it get to where it has so far is that if something happened, like all of a sudden all the batteries from 2014 failed, and all the not transmissions, but all the axles from 2015 failed, they still have the money in warranty to fix that. I'm not sure what pulls them out of warranty. Like you would think that a 2012, for instance, would no longer need a warranty reserve, and that money would trickle back into profits. I'm not sure on that part, but let's finish what the guy says here. So Larry says that's why it's called a warranty reserve from the 10K, page 42. And this is what Tesla says on it. Warranties. We provide a manufacturer's warranty on all new and used vehicles. Oh, so maybe they would just keep it in there so they don't have to re-budget for a used car. All new and used vehicles, and a warranty on the installation of components of the energy generation and storage systems we sell for periods typically between 10 and 25 years. I would say the 25 years is probably the solar products because it's only 8 years on the cars. We accrue a warranty reserve for products sold by us, which includes our best estimate of the projected costs to repair or replace items under warranties and recalls if identified. These estimates are based on actual claims incurred to date and an estimate of the nature, frequency, and costs of future claims. These estimates are inherently uncertain given our relatively short history of sales, and changes to our historical or projected warranty experiences may cause material changes in the warranty reserve in the future. The warranty reserve does not include projected warranty costs associated with our vehicles, subject to operating lease accounting, and our solar energy systems under lease contracts for PPAs, such as the power purchase agreement. As the cost to repair these warranty claims are expensed as incurred, the portion of the warranty reserves expected to be incurred within the 12 months is included within the accrued liabilities and other, while the remaining balance is included within the other long-term liabilities on the consolidated balance sheets. Warranty expense is recorded as a component of cost of revenues in the consolidated statements of operations. Due to the magnitude of our automotive business, accrued warranty balance has been primarily related to our automotive segment. So they're saying basically, if you're looking for their solar warranty reserves, they're in there, but they don't hold a candle to how many cars they've been selling, which is kind of how most of the market's been valuing them as a car company, even though they're not just a car company. All right. That one right there is what I was getting at next. Let's wait for this tweet to load. All right. I'm already 99.2% invested in Tesla. Oh my goodness. That has a potential to help you out a lot, but also that's also a case of what we would call eggs in one basket. So believe me, we're on the same side, but what do they mean here by accrue? Must that be that they accrue the flow within a period of time, or rather the time span of the warranty period, removing the car's existing warranty in a rolling fashion? That's a very good question. That's one I just asked before. The alternative would not make sense. Nevertheless, you've pointed out a valuable detail. Earnings are understated in each earnings report by the amount of difference. Yes. Anyway, Tesla is a must-buy even without this. I expect Tesla stock to at least double in 2 to 5 years plus. They might, but again, you're heavily invested in Tesla at 99.2%. You need some diversity. Uh, and I wouldn't rule out in 5 to 10 years. All right, so then this one is the question that I was thinking, and this guy asked it. So Hitesh says, so what happens to 3.5 billion accrued amount? Can they bring a portion of that into realized profits? And Larry says, ultimately, they will. I think they will adjust the reserve rates in about the 2025 time range. So there we go. So in about 2 more years, we'll start to see probably not as low as we saw with Honda, but we'll probably see them adjust that to be more in line with their experienced reality, because now they won't be short term. They'll have had a couple of actual cycles to get this done, and have experience to draw upon. All right, so let's see. Do you think they're keeping it higher as they keep introducing new models, especially with Cybertruck coming this year, completely new design and methodology? That's an option, or like I said, stuff just breaking. You got the Cybertruck, you got the semi truck. There's a lot of things they could rather have banked rather than have to figure out how to pay for them later. Interesting. The increasing sales volume and hence increase in total amounts is creating false impression of a problem, which is getting worse. Uh, Thank you for your response. The fourth tweet in the thread contains a table in the per vehicle numbers as shown. The situation is that the per vehicle warranty costs have fallen to a low point of $253 per vehicle, an industry low. Yeah, they did put a lot of warranty work into mine dollar wise, but man didn't have a lot of visits. It was only the second year of them making Model X. That's something to consider, and something that I had not thought of when they put their tables of stuff. I see it, I see all of it, but it's usually right after work, and I read their summaries and I look for some things that are interesting to me, but I hadn't thought about warranties, and it was just there in front of us the whole time. It's pretty cool. Tesla's warranty reserves are some of the highest in the biz, yet their claims are some of the lowest. Excellent combo. Yes. We just need NHTSA to understand the difference between a recall and a software update. We need a term for that, and it couldn't come faster. All right, so then I put a note on this next one. Says it seems I was misinformed because it happened like right after we closed the show. Just loading up a couple more of them, and then we'll get to that. So let's switch over to this. Close the old one. All right, so I had mentioned that the MyQ trial was at an indefinite end. It seems they figured out what they were trying to figure out, and now it's done. That was on February 6th, while our last show was on the 5th. So just the next morning, I opened up my phone and I was like, no. But there were a couple points that I believe this was Darren. Yeah, this is a couple points that Darren pointed out that I wanted to share with you guys. Aside from that, the indefinite end is now a definite end of 30 days. Trial period has just ended. They must now subscribe to continue using the feature, even though the software still has several bugs, including one that could damage your vehicle. So this is basically where the car can close the door on itself. The same problem I had where I stopped using. I didn't stop using Summon in the garage, but I stopped allowing Summon to control the garage door opener for this reason that when the car is rolling forward or backwards, if something stops it in the path of the garage door and it's out of the way of the sensor, it will then issue the command to toggle the door using the home link at this point. It would toggle the door and bring the door down upon itself. The MyQ has the same problem, except a little bit worse, apparently. If you drive the car past the minimum distance to trigger the garage door opener, it'll close the garage door. And like I said in the past, that MyQ does know if the garage door is open or closed. What the car doesn't know is where you've been. So if you are parked in your driveway, and then you go to pull into the garage, and you pass the minimum distance, the car will start to close the garage door on itself, and that's what Darren's experiencing there. And that one hasn't affected me yet because I don't ever drive into my garage. I reverse into it in the garages where I fit. So at last townhouse, it did fit until it became suburban storage. And at my house in South Carolina, the car doesn't. Well, shoot, the volt didn't fit when we actually removed the washing machine, removed the water heater, and the volt still didn't fit. Uh, Actually, the volt did fit by like that much, and then the Model S. Um, if you took off like some of the supports on the door, it would fit. So we just didn't bother with that. And then the Model X being a couple of inches or centimeters longer than the Model S doesn't let the door close at all, even if you were to modify the door. So we don't park in the garage, but I do still have the auto set because I like that. Versus fumbling around with the front door, you can just walk in the garage if it's raining or whatever. By the time you're in the back of the garage to get into the house, you're not. If it's raining that bad, you shouldn't have been out to begin with. But the summoning in and out of the garage, that was a problem for me. All right, so let's see. He says that the rollout didn't go smoothly. There were numerous bugs experienced by owners, leading Chamberlain to extend the free trial indefinitely, which we talked about last week, to work out the kinks. Turns out that the extension was short lived, and the free trial now has ended for some owners, like uh, Twitter user Torch91 in Toronto, who was presented with this message in his car display over the weekend. Interestingly, both uh, Darren's Model 3 and Model Y MyQ integration have not yet displayed this message and are still functioning without a subscription. So it presents a QR code, says the MyQ account linked, but subscription is not enabled. Scan the QR code to set up MyQ subscription. Well, there you go. All right, so Canada, it's $3.95 Canadian dollars, and in the US, it's $2.99. And as we talked about on the show earlier, the 10-year amount actually seems to be a better deal, assuming that you have Wi-Fi and internet where your car parks, because the the 10-year costs less than adding HomeLink to the car. However, my understanding is that HomeLink is still included in Model S and Model X, even the refresh models. So this only really affects you if you have a Model Y or a Model 3. So you could pay $500 for Tesla to put it in, or you could pay $200 for $300 to MyQ for 10 years, apparently for all of your cars. So if you need a car for you and your spouse, and you've got one or two garage door openers, or however many you have, really, up to whatever the limits were, and they're on the account at the address because it knows when you're in MyQ, it knows your house. Like there's a unit for house because they know that some people have two, three, four, or more garage door openers. I think that assuming that it works on both cars because they're both attached to the same account to the same house, that's a substantial savings. Not just $200 over 10 years, but then now it's it's $700 over 10 years for the second car. Plus, if you switch cars, like if you only keep your car 3 years, like because you lease it, or only 5 years because you're weird like me, and then you trade them out, um, and you have to do this each time. The only way that this doesn't work is if all you buy is Model S's and Model X's until they stop including the HomeLink controller in the car. All right, so let's see. So his biggest bug was the closing the car on the door, and he's got footage right here of that happening. Warning: one of two. There's a serious bug in Chamberlain Q, MyQ, where uh, the Tesla integration with the door will close as you drive into your garage. This happens when you've parked in your driveway, then go to park in your garage. Software thinks you're driving away, so as you pull in, the distance, if you set to auto close, is triggered, the door will close. Here's the footage when it happened to them. Fortunately, it got out just in time, but we've heard from others that were not so lucky. So right there, the car thinks that he's driving away, so it's securing the house. But he wasn't driving away; he was driving in. So it should pay attention to the direction, kind of like how the what is the smart shift? Just like the smart shift knows if you pull into a place, you got to back out of it, or if you backed into a place, you got to pull out of it. They should use that same logic to determine, hey, they're still going further into the house, and then not trigger the command until you hit park. Uh, it would still allow the car to mess itself up if you park over the IR sensor. So the body of the car is here, and the door comes down, and these are the wheels. It still allow that to happen, but that would be operator error at that point if you park it that way and then hit park, um, or allow it to summon itself that way. But if they see that you reversed into the driveway, in my case, and you're going to drive out, then they should issue the command. Or if you drive in and then continue driving in instead of reversing out, perhaps they should not issue the command. And in fact, they should maybe make it work in reverse, because what I actually find is that it doesn't actually auto open the door in reverse. So what I ended up doing was setting my open command to be way further out at the townhouse than I like. So as I'm driving by in either direction, it would open. And at my house, my driveway is rather short. It's about the same length as the townhouse, though. Um, so as I'm pulling in from either direction of the street I can get into, um, it'll pop it open. Yeah. I think there was one time I forgot something in both cases where I actually wasn't coming back to the house and it popped it open. I had to manually close it back. And like 2 or 3 times each where I had to go into the app and then command the door closed because HomeLink just wasn't participating. Ooh, ouch. And so that's somebody it happened to. So yeah, if the door is closing on your car, just stop. It'll be less damage than if you keep moving. Let's see if there are any comments on this. I'm curious if anybody else was caught by that. It doesn't look like it's going to load. That's fine. So how about you guys? Have you subscribed to the MyQ? Have you done the trial? Do you use HomeLink? Do you not have a garage? I'm curious. All right, so this one's coming from the Rob Report, and they report that I'm glad I didn't say Rob. Brian Hood reports that Audi is only going to make electric cars by the end of the decade. So says the company. So this is a good move because what do we keep saying? Electrify all the things, right? So if you're only making electric cars now, kudos to you. Lexus said something similar. I don't know if they put a time frame on theirs, and that reminds me. We have a public service announcement. I was talking about Lexus. The Toyota BZ4X. See the link. Doesn't mean it's not in there, but I don't see it. So the Subaru Solterra has been recalled for wheels falling off. And the Subaru Solterra is the Toyota BZ4X in Subaru skin. And what this is after Toyota took 4 months plus to figure out how to keep the wheels from falling off, they changed the lug nuts, and they also fixed a airbag issue that was undisclosed at the time. So they've issued a new stop drive recall for the Solterra because the wheels could fall off. And what happened this time is they have the right parts on. However, Toyota claims that the contractor that was in charge of replacing the lug nuts didn't torque them down correctly. So they probably took an air gun and gave it the one ugga dugga, and they should have torqued them down. And they pointed out that the wheels are not torqued to spec. And what that'll allow to happen is it'll allow the lug nuts to back off. And once there are no lug nuts on the wheels can then fall off of the vehicle, creating a dangerous situation. So Subaru has issued a stop drive recall, and I didn't see any notes saying that Toyota had done the same, like standalone. But in one of the articles I saw mentioning the Subaru situation, mentioned that Toyota did the same again for their car as well. I don't think that the Lexus is on sale yet, so that one probably doesn't have a recall. But again, it's the same car, but it just doesn't. It doesn't look as much like the Subaru and the Toyota as the Subaru and Toyota look like each other. And if I find that article in here, we'll go over it. But like I said, a public service announcement. So there it is. All right. So then let's open up a couple more articles, and then I'll go back to the next one that's sitting there waiting for us. Then I've got a fun one after this block because you'll know how long I've been waiting for an EV van that had some range in North America, or I guess had some range period because the existing ones don't have any range except the Bright Drop. But the Bright Drop is I finally get somebody from Bright Drop reach out to me. I didn't contact them back yet. I was trying to figure out how I wanted to respond. They had me wait for since September, so here we are approaching March. I figure they can wait a week for me to respond. All right, let's see. So supercharging economics in the USA megathread. $35,000 a stall in profit. Checking building permits. A typical Tesla station costs between $40,000 and $70,000, depending on location. Number of stalls and interconnection fees. Megapacks cost $1 million to install, or an additional $50 per stall. So that's what he's saying there is that at the stations that are backed by Megapack, it's another $50,000 a stall in Megapack costs. And I'm pretty sure he's using retail there, but Tesla wouldn't pay retail for a Megapack because they make it. Let's see. This is Mad Max. Slowly admitting myself I do Tesla threads, White Sox energy, politics, economics, permanently scarred by participation trophies. Okay then. And all right, so for our example, the total cost of $100,000 per stall with Megapack, or $2 million total for our 20 stall example. IRA credits give you alternative fuel refueling property tax credit of 30% per stall up to 100,000. So 30,000 in their example, or 600,000 in total. The ITC for energy storage is 30 to 50%. Traditionally, the IRS has allowed a lot of extras to be put in and use a market price. $2 million minus 30% is 600,000, or sorry, 30% or 600,000. Federal charging grants. Additionally, states are providing money through the federal government programs, and they vary, so I will not add these in. But they appear to be direct grants in addition, effectively making the stations cost zero. So if you can put in a supercharger station for free, there you go. Arizona has 7 times more EV chargers. Tesla V4 superchargers are coming. Arizona is about to have more EV chargers per capita than any other U.S. state, with almost 14,000 being added, plus more superchargers. And then we're hearing that Tesla is about to open up the U.S. superchargers to take advantage of the money that is afforded for them allowing public charging. So we'll see probably the Magic Dock or a dual-headed cable that can allow U.S. customers to use their app and turn on and charge a non-Tesla vehicle on the superchargers in select locations. So Tesla can install a 20-stall station for $800,000 post-IRA credits with a Megapack to buffer the pricing, buffer peak pricing, and lower interconnection costs in areas that qualify for additional credits. Or if Tesla uses Panasonic cell Megapacks, that could drop to $600,000 or $400,000 extra, 10 to 20% credit. And I think the reason he's specifying the Panasonic cells is they're built in Giga Nevada, which means that they are U.S. cells, which means they're not cattle cells or LG Korean cells. So, but not cattle means not Chinese. So yes, Panasonic is Japanese, but they make them right there in Nevada. So that is pretty cool. And Tesla can further expand profits by installing solar on site. Distributed solar costs as low as a few cents per kilowatt hour, as is not subject to grid fees when consumed on site or stored in the on site battery for later consumption. Tesla is doing this in the Southwest now. And this is also something that we saw in California when they were trying to do the net metering 3.0, where they want you to make solar, but they also want you to store it in a battery. They don't really want to buy it from you. Kind of plays into that as well. Although net metering is generally seen as a home use thing rather than um, these large businesses like the charging station would be. Let's see. To offset the 40,000 net cost without solar, even at a conservative 20 cents margin, I expect the Megapack allows for better. Tesla would need to sell 54 kilowatt hours per day per stall over the 10-year life, or one charge per day per stall. I think they do that in most locations. Even the rarely used ones, they generally get enough charges per stall to do one stall per day. Let's see. Until somebody like me runs around and gets a free charge, uh, they're gonna they're gonna really mess up my economics with the Cybertruck because I'll be paying for charges then. Let's see. They should be deploying these even faster, in my opinion. The economics are mind blowing. If you believe that superchargers lead to increased sales, I strongly do. Each stall needs just to lead to the sale of one Cybertruck, Model S or Model X, or two Model Ys to offset the total capex. Tesla, please deploy. Uh, so, what can they truly make on them? Tesla gave us a clue. In Tesla China's 10K stalls served about 10 customers per day in 2022. Tesla superchargers in China delivered 35 million charging sessions in 2022, covering 4 billion miles traveled. Mind blown. That's just China. So then we have a picture, and that picture is machine translated, I think, by like Google. 2022 Tesla charging travel report. Go north to embrace the winter snow. Go south to chase the sea breeze. Tesla's charging network continues to expand. Open a new chapter in the era of WhatsApp. Wenzo. I don't know if it's a time period or a vacation time or a holiday. And help more riders start calmly. To explore the new frontier of pure electric travel, full year of 2022, Tesla China charging network for car owners provided more than 35.56 million charging sessions, 6.4 billion kilometers traveled, uh, realized 1.47 million tons of carbon dioxide emission reduction. That's incredible. And planted 2.94 million hectares of forest on the earth. That's pretty cool. So they actually also are still continuing their forest planting. So depending on utilization rates, assuming 55 kilowatt hours per charge, I think that's kind of high actually. Most of my sessions are around 40 to 50 kilowatt hours, I think. Let me go to a new tab and check it. Yeah, this tab will be fine. So we'll come here to work. Then we will add charges, supercharger invoice list, 00000. Charge summary. Apparently my battery is cold. I didn't realize it was that cold out. Interior of the car is 50 degrees. All right, here we go. So supercharging totals. An average of 36 minutes at Springfield, 50 minutes at Chester. So total of 20.24 megawatt hours, 13 days, 1 hours, average time of 30 minutes. It doesn't say how big my sessions are. So what we'll do, this is not at all robust, but we'll do 2245 8 over 538 we'll see that I do 37 kilowatt hours per charge on average, which isn't bad. All right, so let's go back to our thread. Let's see what this baby's up to. Hey, baby. How are you? Yes. Oh, yes. What are you working on? You doing stretches? You gonna play with your toy? That's fine. Panda. Yeah. Panda, panda, panda. Yep, there you go. Panda. All right, so at 55 kilowatt hours of charge, which for my Model X, the second least efficient Tesla that they've ever made, that can supercharge, the only one worse than mine would be if you add the big wheels and the 6 seats instead of the bench seats. And so I guess second or third worst at 89 uh, miles per gallon equivalent. And at that 89 miles per gallon equivalent, I'm still only using 34 kilowatt hours per session on average. Let's see here. Oh, yeah? Okay. Hopefully Fisher Price doesn't try to take my video down. Oh, let's see. So that's one charge a day offsets CapEx. Two charges a day. Well, actually, so that would mean it would need more charges per day if they're all like me. So one charge per day offsets CapEx. Two charges per day is 4,000 a year in profit per stall. 10 charges a day is $35,000 a year in profits per stall. So all the people saying that supercharging is a profit moat, they're not far off. So 40,000 stalls now is 1.4 billion in profits if every stall gets one charge per day, which I don't think is unreasonable, especially when you look at the sizes of the stalls. The very least used ones tend to be a 4-stall install, 4 to 6, and then the ones that are constantly cycling, they'll get up to 20 to 100 stalls easily. All right, so let's see. He says, why is that not in the financials then? Superchargers used to cost 4 times as much, closer to 200,000 for Gen 1, and there were no tax credits. This is true. And the free supercharger promotions, yes. Horribly unprofitable service due to expansion and goodwill warranty repairs offset the profits here. That's true. So they were doing goodwill repairs, and a lot of people had free supercharging for life or for a set time period. Now they still do some free supercharging, as we saw last week with the Model S and Model X getting 3 years of free supercharging or $3,000 off the price of the car. But because it's limited and you had a choice of $3,000, I'm assuming that they were then accounting that money differently than it coming out of the supercharger profits. More like you bought the car and prepaid for 3 years of charging this time now. That's why it's not in the financials then. Continued. Electricity's pricing spike in 2022 with worldwide, but particularly in the EU. Yes. Electricity in the EU got incredibly expensive. Right. So Tesla just increased prices this summer 2 to 3 times. They sure did, and a lot of you are complaining about that, and I understand, especially when you look at how much they charge at the supercharger versus what you pay at home versus what their competition is charging for CCS. So 2023, the year of supercharging. With the IRA credits, new V4 superchargers, new prices, peak pricing, and public opening to third parties, Megapack ramp, federal and state grants, and solar canopy product, 2023 is poised to be the year of supercharging. As a side note, when Tesla shut down Giga China, they pointedly did not shut down the supercharger factory. I think we know why. So how many supercharger factories do they have? They've got Buffalo in New York. They've got Giga Nevada in Nevada, and then they've got Giga Shanghai in China. I think that also will tell you something right there, that they have so many places they make superchargers. On the additional grants in California, Tesla got around 6,000 per stall in direct grants. That's pretty cool. In Texas, Tesla lost out to gas stations that asked for 3 times as much money, which was sketchy. Oh, we talked about that one on the show. So Tesla bid on installing public charging networks with the state of Texas, and the state of Texas went with their oil friends. Go figure. But they paid 3 times as much to their oil friends as Tesla was charging them to do the same work. But corruption and all that. That's how it works. All right, so this same story as Megapack. Massive price increase, new hardware, V4 with Megapack, massive new tax credits, expanding TAM, open to third parties, and more cars every year. Hidden by unprofitable business in the same reporting segment. Good point. Good point. This guy points out that you're bringing up stuff that's usually ignored. Charging stations will cost at least 10 times as much within a decade, so we should all care about supercharging economics of 2030. It's very similar to the Megapack story, where increased prices plus massive tax credits have made it a profitable business unit all of a sudden, and no one noticed. Yeah, we talked about Megapack the week before last or the week before that. Realistically, automotive gross profit margins can fall while operating profits grow. I like it. Yeah, and that's both with the superchargers and with the Megapack, as we discussed the last time. Maybe how do you find the song so much? I can only get that going if I try really hard. It randomly plays a song based on how many inputs you give it. And notice that she's inputting it repeatedly till she gets her songs. Yeah. Why don't you take that and walk with mommy? Uh-huh. Yeah, pull that and walk with mommy. Yeah, back. Take it to mommy. Take your toy to mommy. Show it to her. So take the toy and show mommy. Yeah, bring it with you. Stay away from the stairs. That's all. Doesn't know how to make it go backwards. Although when she was first starting to use it, she would always go backwards. Now she only goes forwards. Into the dresser. All right. Not unreasonable to think Tesla can make an amount equal to or greater than initial auto gross margin over the life of the car. Parts, service, charging, and FSD subscription. Yeah, FSD is super expensive. All right, let's move on to the next thing. All right, this one I hadn't read before, so we're going to experience it together. Antarctica's only EV had to be redesigned because of climate change. Overheating is now a concern. Oh, snap. Most electric vehicles get upgrades to boost performance or range, but Antarctica's one and only EV has received a tune-up due to the realities of climate change. Venturi has revealed that its upgraded Venturi Antarctica Explorer early last year due to warmer conditions on the continent. The original machine was designed to operate in winter temperatures of -58, but the southern polar region is now a comparatively balmy 14, so -58 Fahrenheit, and now it's at +14 Fahrenheit. So the crew and performance are affected. I mean, and that makes sense. When you look at you got your battery performance, you've got your motors and controllers, and if you're expecting frigid Arctic temperature or Antarctic temperatures, and now you're dealing with just cold, just a little bit below freezing, that'll affect your power balance and your cooling budget to the point where the vehicle could overheat. Yeah. They decided to add a ventilation system and air intakes to the front of the Antarctica to prevent overheating in the cockpit, while additional intakes keep the power electronics from cooking. Redesigned wheel sprockets were also necessary to maximize the tracked vehicle's EV capabilities. The warmer snow was sticking to the sprockets, creating vibrations as it compacted and hardened. Future upgrades will restore range lost to changing snow consistency. The Antarctica is built to cover 31 miles, but scientists have been limiting that range to 25 miles. I mean, I'd limit my range if I knew my car was working harder. Oh, hi. You want to be back on the show? Cool. Hello, Moto. Yeah. All right. You might not see similar climate-related upgrades for a while. Refresher shows how global warming can affect transportation in subtle ways. Yeah, this is true. The Venturi and other manufacturers may have to design their next explorers on the assumption that Antarctica won't be as chilly as before. And we have to remember that in a much warmer time period, Antarctica was a very thriving, warm continent, very much like Australia, but it was also in a different place on the planet. But if it can be where it is and have that kind of, hopefully it doesn't get that hot because we've got a huge problem if we get Antarctica to be tropical again where it is. All right, and we've learned that the comments don't work on the site here, but I am curious to try it because you never know when they'll fix their stuff. You're saying about your leg? Okay. All right. And then we tend to share these fleet vehicles, and they tend to be police cars. The police chief in Somerset, Wisconsin, has explained that they're going to save $80,000 per Model Y that they've ordered, and they expect them to last 10 years, which is longer than they typically run a police vehicle for. I don't know that the Police Explorer has been out for 10 years yet. Yes. You want your bed, or do you want mommy? So the bed must have been it. Yeah, so there it is. So they explain to their constituents that their main benefits of their Model Y are no oil changes, regenerative braking, batteries designed for 500,000 miles, while the drivetrain and motors are designed for a million miles. And don't forget that police cars typically they just, I mean, they do patrol and such, but they tend to just sit there. They don't they do a lot more idling than they do driving. Let's see. 5-year, 125,000 mile powertrain and battery warranty. Most are American-made vehicles. Are you buying Chinese Model Ys for the police department? I don't think so, because you're going to get your Model Y from Fremont or Austin. Uh, I think in another place I read this, it said the most American-made vehicle, which we found out was true based on other reports we saw over the year last year. Highest crash test rating, and I like that it was the first one related to their people was about how keeping them safe. Superior performance and long vehicle life. Everything else they pointed out was financial, which is kind of important when you're reporting to the people who actually pay for these things. Model Y cost the department $60,000, but they had some subsidies and help to acquire it. Most importantly, they believe they will save over $80,000 over 10 years, thanks to the benefits of the cost of operation. So they'll actually make $20,000 over the 10-year life of these vehicles, and that is before you consider their subsidies. That's pretty cool. Right, so the chief says the officers are so far liking the Model Y and choosing it over their other patrol cars. With about 300 miles of range, the distance is not an issue because most of the department's police officers average just 30 to 60 miles per shift. The department had a Tesla wall connector installed at the station where the vehicle can be recharged when needed. Yes, we do. Are you brushing your teeth? You want to flip the other way or brush your teeth so the bristles are in your mouth? Yeah, like this. Yeah, like that. Yeah, there you go. Get some toothpaste on there with some fluoride in a minute. All right, let's see. Oh, that looks cool. So here's how they set theirs up on the inside. We don't typically see the insides of these police Teslas. So that looks like probably like a radio because it looks like a scan gauge, and you wouldn't use a scan gauge on here. There's a Windows 10 computer. There's the keyboard. There's the car's computer. There's a radio. And probably the lights and stuff. All right, that's pretty cool. How do I go back? I guess I go back. And then here's the rear. So you've got your prisoner compartment. Got the shotgun or rifle. Rifle with a. Really? Okay. I'm guessing that you only put a prisoner on one side and not both sides? Or this thing has a little cutout from the front to give them a little more room for storage. It's got a little partition here, so I don't imagine you'd partition them from each other. But you might. 2 seat belts. It's curious. Just the gun in the back here. That's the curious part to me. Like, you can see from the light that it is partitioned out, but is it on the other side of the wall or is it its own little cavity? So that because you don't want the person that you've just captured to have your gun. All right, let's see. So another police department that purchased a Model 3 found that the difference in price with the usual Ford vehicle they would buy for a patrol car could be paid in 6 to 18 months, depending on use. There we go. XB trike. I think we talked about this one, or one like it. All right, so moving on to our next article. So this one I watched on the Not Just Bikes channel, I believe. And they were talking about a new parking structure for 7,000 bikes in Amsterdam. And I thought it was pretty cool. And it's got what they call a, I forget what they call this escalator, but instead of stairs, it's a ramp that moves. And you can carry the bike on it and ride, and you stand next to it and it rides down with you. And then it's got a bi-level parking structure once you're there. I thought it was pretty nice. The new structure is constructed 9 meters below the surface, and it's a stone's throw from Amsterdam Central. So what used to be here was the road. And a bus for me. Yes. You want up? Hi. You're still cold. Are you sleepy? Yeah, you sleepy? You can take a nap. You want to take a nap? No, you don't. What would you like? Yeah? What's that? You hungry? Hungry? No, you're not hungry? Whatever this is? It's just patting my stomach. All right. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it was even cooler to see it on the Not Just Bikes afterwards. So I don't know this YouTuber at all, so I don't know that I want to just go fight with them. What we got? Uh, wow. No, let's not do that. Some people wearing headphones. Yeah, that's something she learned this week. She's like, fine, I'll do it myself. Oh, baby. Why so serious? Yeah. Oh, you want me to do it? You were just crawling. You put your fingers in my mouth on the floor. You look, it's clean. So, this solar and storage system is made up of 1,300 second life EV batteries. So, anytime somebody wants to tell you that, oh, EV battery is just going to go throw in the landfill and all the other lies and crap that they want to tell you, point out that even before we recycle them, like assuming that they're not completely dead, we can put them into useful projects like this storage facility in, looks like somewhere in California. The Los Angeles-based B2U Storage Solutions develops large-scale energy storage systems by reusing EV batteries and owns the system, which is sited in North LA in Lancaster or Lancaster, however you want to say it, depending on where you are. Um, I guess depending on how the town wants to say it, really. But the other town's named like that. One's named Lancaster, and the other's named Lancaster. So I don't know what this one calls themselves. Get off my headphone cable, please. Anyway, these packs are made up of batteries from Nissan and Honda. None of the EV batteries used needed to be modified, and that virtually eliminates the repurposing costs. That is pretty cool, right there. If you can just plug into their existing setup, and they're doing a lot less work than they were doing in a car, so you might not even need to deal with the cooling system. And in the case of the Nissan, there is no cooling system whatsoever. But I do believe that the Honda was liquid cooled at the time. Let's see. So the EPS system continuously monitors and controls each battery to ensure operating specifications are maintained. EPS cabinet controllers and ancillary equipment sense and manage the internal cabinet environment surrounding each battery pack to mitigate any potential hazards. Battery packs are automatically disconnected if any component deviates from the operating specifications and design limits. So here we can see this one is full of what appear to be Nissan Leaf packs. I wonder if they will give us a close up enough to see how they connected. So the SEPV Sierra's 25 megawatt hours of operational storage capacity is the largest operational UL 9540 certified energy storage system utilizing second life EV batteries anywhere. UL 9540 is a safety standard, if you're wondering. Yeah, I gathered by the fact that it started with UL for Underwriters Laboratory. Their top comment was, "This seems like by far the best use of all EV batteries. To recycle EV batteries while simultaneously building new batteries for grid storage is a pointless waste of energy and resources. Happy to see more like this." Yeah, if they still are providing useful storage capacities, then why not stick them in a container like this? If they are no longer good even for grid storage, though, at that point it makes sense to mine them for new to mine them to make new packs because it's cheaper to mine an old pack than it is to make a new pack of virgin materials. Excuse me. And as we talked about in an article within the last month, uh, the recycled lithium ion packs are more resistant to uh, making those little formations across the cell with the solid lithium where they end up tearing themselves apart than fresh batteries. Let's see. And that is the second life batteries. Where is that at? Because I want to use that one again later. There we go. All right, so NHTSA is considering enforcing pedestrian noisemakers on EVs as early as 1997. Now, coming across this headline, I thought it was constructed wrong and that perhaps they meant in 1997 they were thinking about this. No, 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 no. This is far more out of anything they've ever done before than ever. So typically, in the US, and I think Canada and Mexico as well, uh, safety equipment doesn't need to be added to a car that didn't have it when it was built and certified for sale originally. So if you have a car without seatbelts, you don't have to add seatbelts to it. If you have a car without emissions controls, no emissions controls. Yeah, no, that's bad. If you have a car with just lap belts, no lap belts. No mirrors, don't have to add mirrors to it. Like mommy. What, you can't just run around if mommy's not out there. You're sleepy. You should take a nap. What do you think? Look, I'm warm. You can give me a hug, and you can sleep. Well, I can't play music and do the show because if I play music, then they're going to cut me off. And these people might not like the music you like. Don't touch that server. Ah, keep walking. What's up? Yeah, I see you. Who's over there? Who's over there? Where's mommy? So, typically you don't have to add back anything that was already on your car or that wasn't already on your car when you bought it. This is new, and I don't know if it's even legal, but I guess we'll find out if they succeed in this campaign. Um, they want to add the noisemaker back to all cars that are EVs and hybrids going back to 1997. The only EV in their list, really, back to 97 is the EV1. And of course, any homemade vehicles as well. But again, if you get your car legally titled on the road and it didn't have any of these features, you didn't have to add them going forward. It's unprecedented as far as I'm aware. And their argument is, oh, it helps save blind people from getting hit by cars. That could be true, but in my opinion, it's just from the seeing eye dog lobby, and it's not just, but they were the biggest push for this. And they didn't want to add the test to train the dogs to listen for the tires rather than to listen for the sound of an engine. And I understand it's hard to train them and it's expensive to train them, but adding speakers to cars that don't even have provisions for having speakers added to them, it isn't really proven to save lives. Is that worth the expense? Because as a driver, you're responsible not to run into people. And somebody in my circles on Twitter pointed out that he's really pushing for this, and he really wanted to add it to his car because he had a blind friend who was struck by a car and killed. I'm sympathetic to that, but I'm not. The whole point of this is to make them quiet and reduce noise pollution, and we've gone the other way with this cacophony of ringtones. As I keep mentioning, every time I hear a Toyota run down the road, it sounds awful. It doesn't make me think, "Oh, look for a car." It's like, "What the heck is broken and why is it moving?" And um, all the other EVs I've seen, except for the Toyotas, they've been rather inoffensive, but not altogether quiet either. And folks who were seeing this pointed out, asked if we are then going to make sure that the fossil cars also meet a minimum noise requirement. Um, one, to be fair, and two, if the gas car is too quiet, then the dog still can't hear it, and now the blind person is under false sense of security that all cars running around have noisemakers on them, and they might jump into the street at the last minute to a bad outcome and get hit by a Bentley or a Rolls Royce. I mean, the only thing that will help here is that all cars are going to be electric soonish, but we also don't have anything requiring you to take old cars off the road, just like we don't have any requirements that the old cars meet new safety standards. So this feels to me more like we're patting ourselves on the back because we did something that actually is ineffectual. Because there's still be cars that don't qualify and don't have to do it, whether they're electric or not. And that false sense of security will end up hurting more people. So we'll be watching this to see how it goes, and I'm curious what you all think. I know that a lot of you are watching the football game, but those of you in here, could you tell me in chat what do you think? And those of you watching later, put it in the comments, and I'll be reading them later. I'd like to discuss it because I have a feeling that I might not be in the popular opinion on this. And in the case of that guy who's lost their friend, he probably thinks it's quite callous. It's not. I'm just wondering if it just makes you feel like you're doing something to make it so that just one more person won't get hurt. Yeah, in the case of an EV, yeah, just one more person will have the opportunity to hear the thing, assuming that the owner doesn't clip the wires or unplug it. But now, there it doesn't even have to be a luxury car to be quieter than an EV running down the road. Uh, there are several of them out there that are quieter than an EV is required to be today, and we're talking like Hyundai's and Toyotas and stuff like that. Stuff that's not a hybrid and not an EV, not a fuel cell. I don't. I'm sure there's a way to solve this correctly aside from making sure that the driver's liable, but I don't know that this is it. And then those of you watching the game might see an ad from Dan O'Dowd, Green Hills Software, the guy who thinks that Tesla is stealing his business. Not directly, but Tesla is stealing his customers away by making sure the customers go out of business. Anyway, he was pointing out all these times that alleges that FSD didn't do what it was supposed to do. FSD beta didn't do what it was supposed to do. He just calls it regular FSD as if it was done yet. And one of the rebuttal responses to it was, as we've watched on this channel, we've watched most of the European crash tests and a couple of the others where they show how the car's perception system works with regards to bicyclists, pedestrians, and surprised children popping out between cars. And they pointed out, I want to say like 20 cars that either clip the child or clip the bicycle or worse. I think one of the BMWs just ran into the child, and that BMW was running Dan O'Dowd software. And then they pointed out in another post later, they showed all the times that the various Teslas did the same test, and they passed it with flying colors. Some of them were really close, but there was no contact. Uh, but there could have been. And I think something like that might be more effective because now you're not just protecting against deaf people. You're or not deaf people, blind people. This will do nothing for deaf people. You're not just protecting against blind people. You're protecting against uh, uh, wildlife in the road, bad drivers, and any other number of situations that the Tesla has been proven to assist with, and not just the Tesla, but other systems that don't fail the test. We've looked at some that well, we looked at several that do just as well, if not better, on the test. In addition to all the ones that do have a failure or more, and I think even the ones that have failures will be more effective than the ringtones throughout the continent. And without doing this unprecedented thing of going back in time and requiring modifications to a car that wasn't made to accept them. Uh, if they pass this, I'm curious to see who challenges it on legal grounds. I mean, I'd be fine with the Tesla noisemaker on my car, assuming that somebody else is paying for it. I'll let them put it on there, but uh, there are only a handful of EV1s out there. Um, None of them are to be operated on public roads as part of the agreement. I think only one or two of them still have an intact propulsion system. The one in the Smithsonian, which never drives, from my understanding, and then whatever the other one is never driven on public roads. So it sounds like overreach when you do that. And if they are going after the home builds, who's going to enforce it? I mean, are you going to have a cop running by every home built or converted EV and listening at 19 and a half miles an hour and below to see if they are making some stupid noise? Who's to say what the noise has to be on the home builds? There was no way to say what they had to be on the production cars, except that they didn't like that you could do custom noises on the Tesla, and that really annoyed them. Um, this is this is going to be one to watch. So let's go on to something more fun to discuss. Oh, that's another one I want to bring up with some other people. Okay. So the upcoming Porsche Boxster EV has been spotted with a rear charging port. Yeah, yeah, like those old cars that had the gas fill in the gas fuel filler in the onto the license plate, kind of like that. And then, of course, just like the Taycan, they've added some gas stuff to it. Like they called it the Taycan Turbo S, even though it doesn't have a turbo. And this one, hopefully, is just camouflage. It's sporting a exhaust port. And by hopefully just camo, I mean like that they don't put the exhaust port that doesn't work on the final car. And somebody else pointed out that that Porsche is not averse to putting fake exhaust ports on their cars, and they pointed out a bunch of their existing combustion cars that have fake exhaust ports, and then either and then down below is where they actually exhaust, but they have them in the bumper to look pretty. Here we go. So thank you to Next Move DE for showing us the Porsche 718 Boxer EV fast charging Ionity. And here we can see the front still camouflaged, the rear camouflaged. And it kind of doesn't actually charge under the license plate, it charges in the bumper, which is still a little weird. Also means if you get rear-ended that you might not be charging the car until it gets fixed. But it got 180 kilowatt average charging at 53% state of charge. It's pretty nice, but that's not to say that the final one will be there. And here we see a Kia EV6 right next to it. It'll have an 800 volt system. It would go from 5 to 80 in 25 minutes. That's not bad. And 100 kilowatt hour gross battery capacity. All right. All wheel drive. Optional extra. There we go. Let's see the comments on this. Another charge port on a bumper. Why? Just why? Yeah, because putting them in the bumper just adds to the cost. But depending on how your body is structured, it might be easier to do it that way at manufacturer. Agreed, that's the worst location. Both inconvenient, you need to bend to reach it, and every fender bender becomes expensive since a body shop isn't enough to fix it. You need a shop that's certified to deal with high voltage. Yeah. Excuse me. I really wish the manufacturers would have standardized on the location and also offer it as an extra cost option 2 inlets on both sides of the car, like a couple luxury models have. Yeah, that would be cool. There are cases where driver's side is more convenient and cases where parallel parking charging, where you don't want the cable to stick out in traffic, so passenger side is better. Yeah. One connector on each side, both the front and both on the front or both on the rear addresses pretty much all concerns. That's true. I'll give you that. And if the car is designed for it in advance, the BMS makes sure only one side can be active at a time. The user interface software shows which side is in use, makes it easy to make it fairly simple and inexpensive to add the second port as an extra cost option. All you need to do is populate the location where the second socket would go, and it would could also be done by a dealer post purchase, giving them more income. All this is true, except that the port themselves, especially for CCS, are not cheap. They're less expensive with the NAX port. Well, that'd be cool right there if you had one CCS and one NAX. But on both vehicles, the cabling is what will get you. You need some pretty substantive cables to carry the correct current, and then you need to make sure that whoever does this aftermarket install um, or dealer install, whatever, actually torques the connections correctly because incorrectly torqued cables, loose connections are high resistance. High resistance is going to lead to a fire. I do like the idea, like the luxury cars that have it now, just include two from the factory, whether it's an extra cost option or not. That would be fun. 177 kilowatts at 53% sounds pretty good to me, depending on the gross size of the battery. That could be one of the best C rates of any EV in existence. Yeah. Porsche already showed off their 18 900 volt charging system, and Porsche Cayenne EV was charging with more than 400 kilowatts on a public high performance connection in Germany. Here at this YouTube, did you notice the screenshot shows Porsche Boxster EV is charging with an average speed of 180 kilowatts? It means it pulled 27 kilowatt hours in 9 minutes in cold weather conditions around zero. That's pretty cool. All right, so next up, we've got a follow up to our attempted murder suicide situation. The wife of the doctor accused of driving the Tesla off the cliff with the family inside shouted to rescuers, "He intentionally drove the car off the edge," the DA alleges. The wife of the man driving the Tesla off the cliff said he intentionally did it, said the DA. The woman shouted at medics that her husband intentionally drove the car over, said the DA. Is there another good DA says? Ramesh Patel was formally charged on Monday with 3 counts of attempted murder, and that's not the guy. That's Sam Bankman-Fried, a crypto scammer. Well, not really a crypto scammer. He's scammed in crypto. Yep, there's another DA said. She shouted out to medics as they rescued her from the vehicle. The DA told the news organization. A lawyer for the guy did not immediately return a request for comment, and she just said to the paramedics he just drove his car off the cliff. He was a radiologist at Providence Holy Cross Medical Center in LA, and the passengers miraculously survived, were rescued via helicopter as after the vehicle plunged off Devil's Slide. The children we found out were not seriously injured, whereas he and the wife needed medical treatment. And then after he was treated, they took him to jail. And he's been charged with attempted murder and several other things. I guess we'll have another update here after he goes to trial because this is still pretty thin. Surveillance footage of the incident shows the Tesla coming out of a tunnel and going up a hill and making a sharp right turn and then disappearing going up the cliff. Witness accounts were consistent with what the surveillance footage showed, like how there does not appear to be any brake lights or anything like that, according to the attorney. The attorney's office has not yet spoken to the suspect's wife, who remains hospitalized. Wait, what? How can you? Oh, I guess that's why they keep saying attorney says, district attorney says, rather than. Anyway, so she's still hospitalized, and the couple's two children, 7-year-old girl and 4-year-old boy, have been released from the hospital and are in the care of a family member, according to the DA. So there we go. Not a good update, but I like to be thorough and give you guys your updates. All right, so here's a cool one for me. The Fast Lane EV or the Fast Lane had a YouTube video on it, but then Drive Texarkana had an article, which made it easier for me to bring on here. So Mercedes-Benz is going to be making an e-Sprinter van in North America in 2023. And when I say in North America, I mean around the corner from my house, there's a Mercedes plant. And it's going to be making the Mercedes Sprinter EV. That's pretty cool. Unfortunately, they won't be making a cutaway version, so it'll just be the high roof, long and short ones for now. And they'll come with 2 battery packs, a 115 kilowatt hour, I believe, and then something smaller. It'll look like this, except that you'll put your own logos on it. It does not have a frunk. All the power electronics and everything mount to the gasoline and diesel versions mount points. And battery pack rides underneath. So 113 kilowatts, I'm sorry, kilowatt hours. And it'll look just like the gas one on the inside. Let's see. The commenced production in Europe and Dusseldorf and Ludwigsfeld. And the 2 plants will produce multiple variants. They will make a cutaway and a dump truck and all this other, but they're not going to come to the U.S. And this was significant because, as I was saying, that the Ford can do 86 miles, which is sufficient if you are one of the many use cases for like an around town delivery vehicle, or even a shuttle. But sometimes you just need a little more range. Like if I was going to use this to do trade shows and haul camera gear and whatever, I'd want it to go a little bit longer. Or if I were to do something more fun with it, like recreationally, I'd want to be able to make it between charging stations. We'll see what I do with my electric van plans, and then we'll let you know. It's going to depend on the cost of this thing. They're differentiated based on battery size and powertrain. Oh yeah, so they have 2 power outputs, but 1 motor. So basically, if you don't want your drivers EV hot rodding it out there, you can save a little bit of money and get the software lock on the performance, or you can get it unlocked and use all the performance. Because you can get 100 or 150 kilowatt hour. What? No, the motor would come at 100 or 150 kilowatts without the hours, with up to 400 newton meters of torque. There we go. And initially, the US one will come as a cargo van like this. Enhanced stability thanks to the placement of the battery under the floor. Driving range is up to 248.5 miles on the WLTP. So we'll see what that does in American. Let's see. WLTP to EPA estimate. Let's see if this is useful to us. Consider the EPA figure to be the most realistic. Yes, I understand that, but I want to figure out how to. WLTP figure would be about 22% higher than EPA. Okay, there we go. Exactly. But my problem with the e-Transit was the less than 100-mile range, whereas this Mercedes, now that we know that we're going to do 22% adjustment. Greetings, Timothy. There we go. Let's see. Using the 22%, let's recalculate this now. So 248.5 minus 22%. So they have a 193.83 mile range, roughly. And I think that would do what I need for all the stuff I want to do in a van. So depending on how much it costs and what my situation looks like, and if Tesla makes themselves a van or other commercial vehicle before um, Cybertruck comes out, like if they announce something, um, we'll take a look and see what I do because Model X turns 5 this year, or my Model X turns 5 this year. Model X turns 7 this year because it came out in 2017. I think that's right. No, 2016. Sorry, 2023 minus 2017. 6 years old. So Model X turns 6 years old this year. Not right. Because mine is 2 years behind where they started, and mine turns 5. Hmm. Either way, I think Model X turns 7 this year. All right, so what do we say? 193 miles of range EPA, roughly, on the highway. Oh wait, look at that! It's actually higher in the city. That's not common on EVs. It is on hybrids. 11 minus 22%. So 242.58 in the city. And what do I keep saying about 250 being the sweet spot, right? Even better. Battery accepts 9 kilowatts AC and 115 kilowatts DC. Don't mind the typo there. The latter will charge the battery from 10 to 80% in 42 minutes. Loading capacity is 488 cubic feet with a weight limit of 4.25 tons. I'm guessing those are metric tons because it's Drive Tesla Canada. But they measure it in cubic feet, so they might be US tons. Ford also offers an electric van under the E-Transit brand. One of the customers is DHL, which ordered 2,000 units. And the E-Sprinter will compete with GM's Bright Drop vans, which will be built in Canada. The Bright Drop Zevo traveled 418 kilometers on a single charge, and that was on American roadways. I think they went from DC to one of the Northeast areas to show it off, or the other way around. Yeah, that was 2016. So why is my math not coming out to 7? Because if my 18 is 2 years later and it's 25, I'm doing something wrong with the math, clearly. All right, there are no comments on that one. And share this tab instead. And then I want to put a little dot next to this one as well. There we go. Oh, that was the range thing. So now we're going on to another PSA recall situation, but not involving Toyota this time. I'll switch screens in a moment. And then we got a video by MKBHD over his autofocus channel. I'll just kind of bring up the picture and we'll just discuss it. He did the entire video on the Samsung 23 from inside the car, but the thumbnail is outside the car. So I will expand the thumbnail, I hope. There we go. We'll just discuss it from there. Oops, I opened it twice. All right, so then we'll copy this link and we'll move on to the PSA first. So the Volkswagen ID4, 21,000 of them have been recalled again because they might stall while driving. The software updates to the high voltage management unit and the pulse inverter control are needed. However, because VW doesn't do over-the-air updates, you must take your car into the dealer to get it updated. Um, but I believe this is a stop drive recall, so you're gonna have to tow your vehicle into the dealer, if I'm right. All right, so 20,904 ID4s built between May 26th of 2020 and January 20th of 2022 are affected with the problem initially spotted in July of 21. But by September, the German brand concluded the drivers weren't put in any danger as steering and braking functions were not affected. Okay, so no, they didn't issue a stop drive. However, the investigation wasn't closed, and in January of 22, Volkswagen supplier came forward and said that the Pulse inverter software had problems as well, which could lead to stalling. Hmm. Newer vehicles are unaffected by this problem because they use newer software. So cars made after January 20 of 2022 are good to go. The affected vehicles will show an alert on the dashboard by the end of March. So they can OTA send you an alert, but they can't OTA update your software. Come on, Volkswagen, hire some competent people. The affected vehicles will show an alert by the end of March, instructing owners to schedule a service appointment at a Volkswagen dealership for the installation of a software fix for a high voltage battery management control unit and pulse inverter control unit. Seriously, can you get it any more wrong? Other than the wheels falling off a car. About 1,000 ID4s for 2022 and 2023 model years are part of another recall where a cable for the 12-volt battery can rub across against the crossover steering column and become worn, which could potentially lead to a short circuit and possibly a fire. And that one we already talked about, and we said that one can't fix OTA. Even if they had OTA, you need somebody to go and reroute the cable if it was put in the wrong place, and that's fine. People make mistakes. These cars are made by humans, but for a software update that you can come through and then tell me I need to come into the dealership, but you can't just push me the software and say, hey, when's good for us to install this thing? That's a bad experience. Care about the sales figures. What's that have to do with the recall? That's a reporter thing, I guess. I'm curious what people have to say about this. Got the recall notification on the vehicle app. It said they couldn't fix it at this time. That's even worse. That sounds like a software problem. I wouldn't hold your breath. Software issue. So of course VW will fix it with an over-the-air update. But no, that's too forward-thinking. Bring it into the dealership. Apparently they don't understand what OTA update means. The component that isn't working is a third-party component. It's not part of VW software. So what? It's on the CAN bus. If you can update it there, then the car should be able to update it on its own. If you can't, you've designed it wrong, and you need to go back to the drawing board. I'm with you, get real. Exactly why their OTA system isn't very good. They need to be able to control all the car's software systems, whether they made in-house or by supplier. Exactly. I mean, other manufacturers do that. You've got Tesla, you've got Ford, Rivian for sure, Lucid. Software doesn't work like that. The software suppliers their own intellectual property. Yeah, wrong. Because when our Continental radar needed an update on our AP1 Model S, Tesla was able to push the update from the car's gateway into their unit, and it was fine. It does when you do it right. Can you imagine I can't update my GPU drivers because Dell doesn't build a GPU in my chip? Yeah, exactly. Terrible. A company that actually has local dealerships to address issues. Much better simply sell the vehicles and delay or avoid repairs for years. That's what it sounds like they did. Like, if it was discovered in 2021 and now in 2023 we're just now being told to fix it in March? It doesn't sound good. Yeah, those over the dealer updates are awesome. I'm willing to take some time off from work to see them in action. Volkswagen, Stellantis, Volvo, Polestar have much more sophisticated OTA system than Tesla. Explain yourself. Volkswagen Group and Stellantis monthly updates its navigation maps with just the changes to the map data. My car does that. As a Tesla customer, you have to park your car, download 10 to 25 gigabytes of outdated OSM map data using your data volume. Okay. No need to connect your car to your phone or Wi-Fi for yeah. I mean, the Tesla maps used to update over cellular, and then Elon got cheap, and so now you got to be on Wi-Fi. Their map data updates over the car eSIM while you're driving. Yeah, ours used to do that too. For this premium service, VW Group and Scientist doesn't even charge its customers. How many years does it work for? He's talking about maps, so it doesn't exactly refute his claim. Because map updates matter the most. Most like having a functional infotainment or applying a recall fix for an ID4 that might shut you down in mid-drive. Are you serious? Oh, come on now! Don't start with the new uh, um, name calling. Tesla uses Google Maps for the display, not for the maps. A lesson to learn early on. Component programming inconsistencies can create fail point just as well or as bad as wiring. Yeah, this is true. This is just as serious a recall, except that it won't cause a fire. It might cause you to get into a crash. Might. Or you can coast the side of the road. Unless you coast the side of the road using a car that has this and the steering failure, and then it might catch fire while you do that. Might also introduce 2 or more program bugs in the system that creates another problem to solve. That's true. Look at the Chevy and the Bolt. It's found that random LG chem batteries would fail in thermal runaway, and one cannot program around bad overall design or defect. This is true. As this has happened 3 times now, it's supposed to have been a software fix. It's maybe the original that they haven't fixed. Possibly. But if this was 3 times for the same thing, some states you can limit it. Get you another car if you want it. Their emission seating software was superb. It also sucks because they got cut. It's not a software issue, it's a firmware issue. Firmware is updated with software. I'm not certain for VW, but I'd expect a car to have at least 3 levels of the firmware which do not interact in any way for security and reliability reasons, use level, service level, manufacturer level. If my car's hacked, blah, blah. I mean, Tesla and others can do it. So VW can do it. They chose not to. All right, Tesla Investor Day is coming on March 1st. That'll be fun because we get more updates from the company. And on the invite that some people got, we see what appear to be body sides or the skins of the body side of the Model Y. And they also, Elon said that Master Plan Part 3 will be there. And reminder, Master Plan Part 1 is build a sports car, use that money to build an affordable car, use that money to build an even more affordable car. So Roadster, Model S, Model 3. While doing the above, also provide zero-emission electric power generation options, which they kind of bought Solar City to do that. Master Plan Part 2 was create stunning solar roofs with seamless integrated battery storage. They kind of have that now. It's not running the way they'd like it, but they have it. Expand the electric vehicle product line to address all major segments. They're working on that. They've got the semi-truck. They've got the Cybertruck coming. The Roadster is way off. They don't have a van or a Class 6 truck. Develop a self-driving capability that's 10 times safer than manual versus via massive fleet learning. They're working on that. Enable your car to make money for you when you aren't using it. If they can't do that without hardware 4, then I'll be curious how that plays out. So Master Plan Part 3, we don't know anything about it except that we'll know that it comes out at Investor Day, which is on Wednesday. So we'll probably stream that on the Tesla Life if we can catch a feed. And depending on what time of day it happens, because if it happens in our show, we'll see. Create stunning solar roofs. Good luck getting a stunning solar roof installed. Plus, neither of these options are affordable. That's true. The solar roof is not at all affordable. Expand the electric vehicle product line to just all major segments. Cybertruck's in the way. They've produced more than 30 semis. No low-cost EV sub 35,000. They had a $35,000 Model 3 for a couple weeks. Self-driving capability is 10 times safer versus massive fleet learning. Yeah, we don't know yet. We know it's at least twice as safe as a human, but we don't know where they are yet. Enable your car to make money for you when you aren't using it. Not even close. Well, one way to do that would be if they were to give us a retrofit for bidirectional power, and then that would not be technically a lie. It would be misleading because the make money for you was implying robotaxi. What I'm doing now is checking to see if I get my CCS update yet. Service. CCS retrofit. Check back in early 2023. So still not yet. All right. And moving on. Renault and R-Fit team up to make electric retrofit kits for classics. The Renault 4 and 5 and the first generation Twingo can all go electric. That's pretty cool. Dawood makes up a good point. Right now, the Model 3 is $26,000 in Oregon after all applicable incentives. There you go. So if you qualify and you can make it a Oregonian purchase, it's significantly less than 35. $9,000 less than 35. All right, so this is always kind of cool when your manufacturer helps you do an EV conversion because it makes it more of a bolt-in than a having to deal with all the custom stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool. It's a 2-year warranty and a driving range of around 80 kilometers or 50 miles. Renault says the car's weight distribution stays the same as before, and the owner also gets all the required certification and registration documents to indicate the type of fuel as electricity rather than gasoline. That's pretty cool. RFit also makes and installs a conversion kit for the Citroën 2CV, which starts at $9,600 at current exchange rates, or 8,900 euros. Sorry. I'm curious what these comments will be. And not on that one. If the cars came with European Union homologation, I believe they can only drive in France. I totally think about it. Any of the models German are vintage, iconic styled cars, very steep prices for what they offer, though. This is the thing. The entire industry needs a comprehensive BEV conversion kit. Yes. One can come up with electric motor, inverter, and many machine shops around can custom machine an adapter from electric motor to transmission or direct drive to an existing axle. It's the ability to get a modular battery pack with VMS that stands in the way of conversions at the individual worldwide level. Yes. 10.7 kilowatt hours is good for one application, but in some instances would want something like 150 kilowatt hours for larger vehicle conversions. Yes. The ability to add DC fast charge within the BMS controls would allow the modular battery pack to be used in more applications. It's too bad the people who do these conversions feel like they have to make Fabergé eggs with associated astronomical price. You only see these old VWs and such. They try to sell for 100,000 or more. True. All right, so we've talked a lot about the Rolls-Royce Spectre, way more than you'd expect for a channel like this. It's passed a significant milestone in its latest program test image program, and they've got some images. So the Rolls-Royce Spectre has done 2.5 million kilometers, or 1.2 million miles, as they approach the end of their testing. That's pretty cool. Hello, how are you?
Hey, good morning. Doing well. How are you doing?
Doing great. You came on just in time. We're about to discuss Marquez's video. But
Oh,
first, what about this conversion kit system or this Rolls-Royce reaching 1.2 million miles before they go on sale?
um, let's see. I missed the most recent one you were doing. I was getting logged in. So what's
Right.
going on with this Rolls Royce?
So this Rolls-Royce has done 1.2 million miles in testing before it goes on sale.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So they've proven that the electric battery system can go 1 million miles.
I mean, I think that's been proven time and again by
I know we already knew that.
yeah. but to see them do it before the car goes on sale, I mean, that'll help a lot of their the people who can afford this car. They'll have a lot of friends like, oh, but they can't go far. What are
Yeah,
you going to do in 10 years? It's a Rolls Royce. You got to keep it for life. Well, a
yeah.
12-year warranty of 1.2 million miles before the thing even goes on sale. I don't know any Rolls Royce customers that put that kind of mileage on their cars.
Yeah, you probably got a pretty conservative client base when you're dealing with Rolls Royces. So yeah, they're
Yeah.
certainly going to want to see it, and they can afford to just have, I guess, some guy drive around for 1 million miles.
Right. And then before this, we were talking about Renault and what was it, EFIT. Have done some conversion kits for some of the retro style, like the Citroen C7 and C5 and that sort of
I
thing.
like the conversion kits. I really think at some point that's going to really catch on. I mean, not soon, but as EVs become more the mainstream,
Right.
then
Like
I mean,
tuner cars.
like tuners, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
so many people take old cars and put new motors in them, and that's what they do. And you can't take that away from them. But if you just switch it from
Right.
now, put motors and batteries in.
Yeah, and if you make it so they can still do what they like to do, but then still take them out and have fun,
Right.
then everybody wins.
Exactly.
Whereas if you tell them no, they're going to cling on to their combustions until it's beyond safe, and like the other way, like unsafe. It's super unsafe.
Right. So now they'll say, this is we do this now.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
And it's always going to be, just kind of a word of mouth, and kind of they'll have one friend that does it, and 3 friends that do it, and then finally be like, you still do gas?
Right.
Huh, come on, dude, come to my garage, check this out.
Exactly. So this one you actually have a lot of first-hand experience with. Did you watch the video already?
I have not. I saw this thumbnail, but I didn't watch it.
Yeah, so on this one, Marquez is sitting inside his car with the Galaxy S23 Ultra in 8K, and
All
yeah, I
right,
know,
check
right?
the Samsung. All right.
So he's explaining that he ordered out. Apparently, he ordered junk food out because the way that he was defending his purchase was like sus. And he was stopped by a lady and a younger gentleman, and they had borrowed her son's Tesla. I don't know if it was a Model Y or Model 3.
Mhm.
And she was trying to use a public charger. And Marquez called it a CCS adapter. I don't know if it was a CCS adapter or the J1772 adapter, but that doesn't matter. They had a devil of a time getting the car. Well, first, the fact that she didn't know she needed an adapter. So they had to get that concept through. He said, you should probably check the trunk or the glove box. There it was. So she hooked it up. CCS or J1772, doesn't matter. So now they've got the adapter. And he shows her how to plug it in. Well, actually, first he shows her how to, it was a charge point. So he shows her how to get the cable unlocked from the station, with your credit card or, your contactless credit card or your app, or you can call them up. And so he comes back out from getting his food, which was, he'd already ordered it ahead. And the lady flags him down again. She's like, hey, it's still blue. Because the car hadn't finished the handshake. It wasn't charging.
Right.
And that's when he launched into this discussion. He's like, the station reliability, we need to work on that. He's got chargers in his landlord in his business park that he's been out of forever now. Like he's got the new studio, but it's really just around the corner from the old studio. They put in some level 2 chargers, but you have to have the cable like draped a certain way so it'll stay connected. And then you've got the adapter, so then like the wind blows it just a little bit. The car doesn't like that.
Right.
And
I didn't think about
that's
that.
of the ones that work.
That might be why my car gives me trouble sometimes when we leave it at that free spot I told you about. Because it's really windy in our neighborhood.
Yeah, it could be. And so that particular station, even if you're not using a Tesla, if you're using a regular just J1772 car, the wind will knock your connection out. If you even got the cable situated just right so that all the connections are made. And then one of the stalls is just got a clipped cable, and it's been that way for months. Nobody's replaced it. And he says that for us early adopters, the 3 of us on the screen here, it's no problem. We can figure it out. But
make it work.
Like that lady, Yeah. For folks like that lady, my grandmother could figure it out, but she wouldn't want to have to figure it out. Um, or some folks who just get easily frustrated by something that should be simple, that's all of a sudden acting a fool, and they don't have time for this. They're in a hurry, and they don't know why it's not working. It's not disconnected. Error lights. It's still blue. They got out, and it's still uncharged. This situation is going to put people off of EVs. He said that lady is probably going to be one of the last people to switch her car out for an EV because she had this bad experience at the grocery store or wherever he was getting fast food at. It sounded like one of them lots that has like a grocery anchor. And yes, we don't have that problem if you go to a Tesla destination charger or a Tesla supercharger. But it's still going to happen with Tesla once they open up their network to other people, because now you've got to use your app to get the Magic Dock done. You got to get the credit card in the app. And then the destination chargers, you have to know if it's going to have you to require a Tesla adapter or if it's one that has the J1772 on the Tesla wall connector. So even they're not immune to it. They just have a better experience overall than everybody else. And they're still not immune to clipped cables, except that they actually do a better job of repairing them if they're superchargers.
Right.
The destination chargers are done by the site, so good luck.
It's actually, I think it's kind of refreshing. I'm going to watch the video because I saw that thumbnail. I should have watched it. I actually watched one on, I can't think of his name, but he does a lot on charging.
Is it Bjorn?
Not Bjorn. No, he has his whole channel is on charging. I'll find him in a second when it comes to me. But the point is that we're going to see more and more of this as more and more people who are not.
Is it our friend Kyle Connor?
Not him either.
Not him either. He does a lot of charging too.
You're gonna have to make me look it up right now. but I'll find it. But as we see more and more people who are not these early adopters get into EVs, they're just used to gas. There's one size hole, you plug it in, and it just works. And now we have,
but they don't ever run into the diesel.
True. I'm gonna find.
Well, most of them don't run into the diesel. They have to try really hard to get the diesel in the gas.
Right. You got to push it. Really got to be really strong.
Yeah.
So yeah,
there was the girl that Dan that we talked about with Dan, the Uber driver. She was a part of this, and it was in the Tesla ecosystem. She was trying to drive it in a way that was unrealistic for an EV, and I think it was cold, and she was trying to charge it to 100%.
Oh yeah.
She was bad mouthing Tesla when it was really all user error, but.
Yeah, I remember that one. So that's another one that people. Actually, I was going to share with you. My brother just got his Tesla, so he got a 2019 Model 3 long range. He's in the Georgia, in the Atlanta area, and that's the kind of stuff that I'm sharing with him. That you got your rated miles, and you got your real world miles, and if you want the rated to match the real world, you got to slow down. And literally today he called me and said, well, what's up with all these other chargers? There's the supercharger and then what are the other ones? And so I had to explain that to him. And it's interesting that it's like to get into EV, you can do it on your own, but it's like you need someone to hold your hand into this
for at least
universe.
The first day.
Right? And pull you along. But my brother's special. He calls me like every day with some other question about this car. What about that?
Rather than trying to figure it out, just saying, hey, let me get the answer from you.
Exactly. You've been through it.
Versus messing it up. Yeah, exactly. You've been through it.
Let me see. But yeah. So
cars are really expensive these days.
They are. That's a different story I can bring up. So yeah, so we're still looking for my daughter. I was hoping that would just go away, but apparently she really wants a car. So it's gonna happen. But these prices are nuts.
Yes,
prices are still pretty nuts. So we're looking at some trackers that are showing that we've reached peak and we're heading back down.
Yeah, they're coming back to normal.
Right,
normal-ish.
So yeah, so we're looking at it was the the Chevy Bolt, but these battery issues have kind of knocked them out. Now we're back on to the Leaf. The 2018 Leaf is probably the highest one. But for a while, we were on the Kia Soul EV, which is a cute little car. But the range is so limited. And now I'm actually finding out that that they have some battery issues also. There's a lot of people. All the advice that I got was you can get it, but make sure you have the battery replaced.
Right.
So,
Or make sure they already did it. Yeah.
You have enough warranty to get it replaced and make sure it's already been recently replaced.
Anything from the Hyundai family, Hyundai, Kia, and sometimes they do another brand. And then Genesis. Make sure that if you're the second owner, that the first owner has done all of that high voltage warranty work, because as a second owner, you don't get the same warranty that they do.
Yeah, I understand. There are some limitations. A lot of limitations there. So yeah. So we're circling back around to the Leaf as soon as that price drops to where humans should be paying for a used car.
I agree with you there. Oh, and then we talked about the e-Sprinter coming to the U.S. Oh, not Sprinter. Yeah, the e-Sprinter versus the e-Transit. The e-Transit was like 80 miles. The e-Sprinter, we determined, is going to be anywhere from 193 miles to 249 miles.
So the e-Sprinter versus the I don't know. I don't follow the details of the what do you call it? The delivery car type trucks.
They just show up at your office or your house.
Right. But several times I've asked my delivery guy, how much do you drive in a day? And they're always 100, 150 miles. This should be an EV. Why are you driving a gas car to do this?
Right. And then they're parked at night at the depot. They don't. Who keeps the delivery car at their house? I mean, the plumber.
Exactly.
But
plumber,
the locksmith, not very many people keep that vehicle at their house.
I don't know if it matters that much with delivery type vans, but Ford's. I mean, what Ford CEO said, Farley, about the leaving the $2 billion on the factory floor with the truck, with the pickup. It's
the Lightning and the
just
Monkey.
Right, but it's just flooring me that people, early adopter EV people, we knew this. You could have called me and I could have told you.
They definitely should have known once Monroe got his hands on it, but even then, it wasn't enough for them to realize it.
It's like shorten the wires, dude. Look, I mean, Tesla's talked about their wire harness,
like
right, years ago.
Like this.
Like they wanted to make just like one bus that goes around the car. It's just like everything runs through it. Just those wires are expensive and add weight. Get rid of it. And the biggest one
is expensive.
He said that they didn't think about aerodynamics. Are you kidding me? That's what I keep saying. You know, people, oh, the Cybertruck is ugly. Oh, I don't know about that.
But it's more aerodynamic.
You guys
sure.
have to realize that you want a truck to look like a truck, but it's going to drive like a brick. And that's going to be a problem for EVs. You know, if you want the range and you want the price, you've got to deal with the aerodynamics.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people complaining about the Ram E-Rev. Some people were complaining that the concept didn't look like a truck, and then other people are saying that they're mad that the new one looks like a truck with a new grille, and that they threw away the concept car. So I'm like, what do you people want? I'm gonna go with the geometric truck.
I don't know what people want. A truck has 4 wheels or some number of wheels and a bed in the back. The shape of it matters not.
Not much, yeah.
I mean, to define what is truck, it just needs to have a bed in the back.
Right. A bed or a cargo box of some sort.
Some sort of cargo platform. But I guess then we'd be looking at what do you call those things? Like El Camino, is that a truck?
Yeah, El Camino's a truck. not a good one, but it's a truck. So earlier I mentioned that I didn't want to really discuss the Mexican Gigafactory because it was so strong of a rumor, it didn't feel right. Well, it's not off the table yet. Because when we saw that the 2 new factories, which were really just the rest of Gigafactory Nevada, the original Gigafactory, it's finally getting finished. The Mexican president confirms that Tesla is still interested in setting up a facility at 2 potential states. I don't know that this will be a Gigafactory. This might be a part supplier, it might be a warehouse, but since I did mention the other one and told you it was probably a rumor, this may or may not happen because Elon's got a fragile ego and money talks. So we'll see what happens here. But they may have one or two facilities that may actually be the same facility as we saw with Giga Nevada out there in Mexico. Although I think unless the states are bordering,
let me just jump in here really fast. I had to do it. State of charge with Tom Malogny. I had to find who that was.
Yeah,
so
Tom does charging and chargers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So go ahead. You're talking about the Giga Mexico.
Yeah. I don't know what it's going to be. It's coming eventually, but it may not happen. So don't hold your breath.
It's going to happen. I don't even know why. I know rumors and all this. So much auto manufacturing happens in Mexico. Right. They have to do it in Mexico. Besides that, you're gonna decrease your labor costs and still qualify for all of the tax credits.
Oh, there's that too. Yeah.
So why would you not? Why would you not take advantage of that? Because it's still North America.
Because his new friends don't like people from elsewhere.
I am going to stick with Tesla's mission statement
and money.
And I know, right, and money and Elon's Twitter, whatever. That's crap. The company has proven to do what it takes to be profitable and lower the price of their cars. And so
we were talking at the beginning of the show. We're talking about how much extra money they have in the warranty piggy bank.
Right. So just because Elon says some crazy thing about a Republican now, I don't care. Everybody else who makes cars is Republican.
This is true. This is true.
And they make their cars in Mexico.
They absolutely do. And when you think back about the amount of times I've talked about where the company didn't do what Elon said they would do, you need more than just this number of fingers to do it. All right, so Polestar and Rivian have a study that shows the car industry is set to overshoot the climate target by 75% without urgent action. And I can see that. Look at all the freaking Japanese folks that are just now changing out CEOs. But right up until the beginning of last month, we're still talking about
hydrogen.
Nobody wants electricity, hydrogen this, and all the smoke and mirrors that. I mean, I can believe this. I don't want to see it, but I can believe it.
Yeah, what can you do?
So some folks will say, "Oh, but they're EV makers. So they want everybody else to make EVs too." Yeah, so
true, but I mean, yeah, but they're saying that. But what are they doing? I mean, I guess they're making EVs, but
yeah,
I mean, they're making $100,000 cars.
Well, Polestar is a little more affordable.
A little bit more
the
affordable.
base model.
Right.
Yeah,
I guess.
But if everybody made EVs, and they would have to make the whole market. So that includes the luxury cars, and that includes the entry-level cars. Although Ford and GM got out of cars, so they could make less cheap cars.
I appreciate everything that every EV maker is doing. I get that, and I see they don't want to cut off their arm, even though they're in the bear trap. So they want to keep doing what they're doing and kind of put the EVs on the side, and hopefully magically it just grows and then becomes profitable all on its own. When you were talking about earlier, Tesla's secret plan, we're up to twice, something like that.
Three.
Right, but that's like the humor in it is that he says it in French because it's supposed to be a secret, like a secret code, when it's really not. Yeah, it's really not secret.
And the first one they just put on the website, and like nobody paid attention until it was almost done.
Right, but I guess I just didn't fully get why everybody else didn't follow that. I mean, that was Tesla's plan. We're telling you what to do, and we're doing
an easy roadmap. Yeah,
with no money. You have billions of dollars. Just do this. Just keep making your gas cars, but just make a whole new company on the side to do exactly what we're doing, and it will make more money than your gas cars.
They could have done it with just their R&D money, but no, no, they wanted to play around, and here we are. But hopefully they'll listen to their peers, because they clearly aren't listening to their customers or the government. And I don't mean one government, but like any government. So this one's pretty cool. Speaking of OTAs and companies that can actually do them, Jalopnik is reporting that your Rivian can power your home with an upcoming software update.
Yay!
Through the CCS port, just like the Ford Lightning can.
Mm-hmm.
So not running extension cords to the power bay, like just literally just plug it into a special EVSE at home and you're good to go. So two-way charging where your electric vehicle can power another car or even your home. Now it seems Rivian plans to add that functionality to all its cars. And currently they have 120 outlets on board. And like we saw the guy who did the vasectomy when the power was out, that was kind of fun. Those power outlets, they don't really hold up to what the car can do through the CCS port. So what they're suggesting is, since CCS must meet certain standards, they're suggesting that since they're not requiring you to change your CCS port, just download a software update, that the car must already meet the vehicle to grid or vehicle to load standard of CCS already, and then they just needed software to unlock it, and they were probably waiting to make sure they were stable and to see how their equipment could do it. A couple other folks have suggested that we can do this with Tesla as well, but only over the DC ports. And that makes sense because with the DC connection, you're overriding the battery charger that's built into the car. So at that point, now that you're connected directly to the battery, as long as you don't take out the power too fast,
you're right,
the car will sit there and let you do it. But if you start taking out the power too fast, the car's gonna say, "This, it's gonna say this doesn't match." It's gonna open up. It's gonna, nope, you're out of here. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm still a little agnostic. I may actually be agreeing with Elon about vehicle to grid at this point. I can be convinced otherwise.
Vehicle to load, vehicle to home is what I do want to see, though, because if I can get one Rivian or Ford truck and one Powerwall instead of all of my Powerwalls, then I know that the house can transition and I don't have to be home. And then if I am home, we can go longer.
True. So I'm looking at I mean, we already have an issue with range now. Not we, but people adoption is an issue with range. And so now my quick calculation, my car gets about 213 miles. My Powerwall is 13 kilowatt hours. And I said it'll take about I actually did that math wrong, but I just figured it'll take about 30 miles of range from my car to run my house overnight from my car.
Right.
But now I have less range in the morning. I think I go to work. So.
Right. But if we have these kind of power outages, typically you don't need to go to work the next day because the disaster is still ongoing.
That's true. That's true. So it just, I don't know. Sometimes I look at it, it's 12 one way, half a dozen the other, because now my Powerwall is connected to my solar. So yeah, if the disaster is that bad,
and that's why
it's bad enough that I'm not going to work, but not that bad that my house is not destroyed.
Right.
So
that's why I kind of like split the difference with Elon. I'm like, hey, you want the house to be able to go when the car is gone, because like if you take your Lightning away and now your food's going bad in your fridge.
Right.
But if I have one Powerwall, then the essentials in the house are running, and then when I get back home, I now have enough to run the air conditioner and
yes,
and everybody's
that's the point I mean. So now you go from emergency to first world. There's a complete disaster around you, but you've got AC, Netflix, running a hot plate, microwave.
My house isn't destroyed. I might as well be comfortable. And then, like you said, with the solar, it can refill the Powerwall, and then once that's full, it can refill the car again. So
right. So we want first world amenities after an earthquake.
Who can afford any of these things? So at this point, it's not a bad way to discuss it. The better way would be neighborhood grid storage. So put a Powerwall in at every subdivision, and then I don't know what you're going to do about rural. Bring back the power pack and put one in for every street. I don't know.
Right. But that's when the efficiencies of scale start to build in. Because it's putting a Powerwall, a couple Powerwalls in each one of our houses is way inefficient compared to just putting a power pack or a mega pack in for the whole neighborhood, a subdivision,
Yeah,
and then we all just share it.
but it would save you from religious nuts shooting them up.
Why?
Oregon, Washington, North Carolina.
And so yeah, but then all of our solar fills the power pack, and then if there's any excess, it goes back to the provider. But there'll be less excess in that case. The neighborhood will use more of it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So speaking of things that Rivian can do on updates, the Kilowatts and Kyle Connor both got notices from their trucks that they are going to get a range boost, just like we saw with the original Model 3. So the Model 3 went from 310 miles to 325 miles for most people. Not everybody got that. On the Rivian R1T, maybe the R1S, they both got this, but the range change is different. So on the Kilowatts, they went from 314 to 328 miles for free on over-the-air update.
Oh, that's nice.
And you got to bring it in like Volkswagen did for critical safety repair.
There's a couple of R1Ts in my neighborhood. It's a stick-looking truck.
It is
compared to my X, but it's bigger, but it's still a brick. I mean,
yeah, it's
probably burning up. I don't know. I mean, how efficient is it? I don't want to say stuff I don't know, but I mean,
we'll take a look after this. This update was pulled, however, because as you see on the screen, it also included a key fob update, and folks weren't listening to this part that says important. Have your key card or your fob or not the fob, your key card or your phone or your alternate key that needs to be with you before you update the key fob software. And a couple people didn't do that, and then they locked themselves out of their truck because their only key failed the software update.
No.
And so, because some people don't read the box, all of you guys are stuck with 10 less miles of range. Sorry. 14 miles less range. Sorry. But the people who did get the update and did follow the instructions or had their alternate key, whether the fob was there or not, they said it was good.
Well, I've been locked out of my car a couple of times, so okay.
Not for an update yet.
Not for an update, but I stopped carrying my X key fob for a while. I went to service.
Risky with a Legacy X.
I know. I do a lot of risky things with my car. I went to service. They changed some settings and my key fob stopped working. Oh. So instead of me trying to figure it out, I just stopped using it. And I went with my phone for a while. It works fine, except you can't open the fucking doors with it.
Yeah, I don't like that part. But you can on the new cars, the non-legacies.
Yeah, all right, they get everything. Plaid gets everything. So, but what I found the hard way is that if you leave your phone in the car, it will not recognize it, like my wife's car. Yeah. And she has a Y, and it will lock. So, wow. So luckily, I had friends around me.
As you said, your car didn't know the phone was in it, but her car usually does.
Yeah, her car will not lock it, leave the phone in it.
Remember when Elon said that we'd get phone key on our legacy cars, and then
I don't remember that.
Oh well, he did, and that's one of the things that didn't fit on the fingers.
He said a lot of things.
He talks a lot, and they don't always listen. Like they don't even pay attention to his tweets.
Yeah. Well, luckily for me, I borrowed somebody's phone, called my wife, and she unlocked the car for me.
Hey,
that only happened twice.
Ready to call my wife, and they're making sure you're not like cash apping yourself all their cash.
Right. Well, the only other option would have been to download the app on their phone.
Oh, don't do that. No. Yeah, because then you're reversing that. But I heard the story about this teen who borrowed this lady's phone and like literally, I don't know if it's Cash App or Venmo, literally took all the money and moved it to himself. And it was clever, but super bad.
That's just terrible.
It was terrible. So this is continuing on with this update. Upon installing Rivian update version 2023.2.03, you'll be prompted to install an update in your key fob if applicable. We're about to do that now and let you know how it works. So if you were lucky enough to get it, because if it was pending, Rivian pulled it from your car. Same we saw with a couple updates 2 or 3 now that Tesla's done, where they're sitting in the cars, and if you didn't start to install it, gone. Or as you saw several weeks ago, months ago, over a year ago now, where I got that update that rolled me off of FSD beta back onto production for a week.
What's happening?
What was happening there was Model Ys and Model 3s were getting too many false collision warnings, and people were getting timed out for following too closely. But my car wouldn't have done that because it's legacy. I still got the update to take me off, and then I got another update to put me back on. That was no fun. It's like I gotta drive this thing myself. So that's another person there got the key fob update. And then here's the note from Drive Tesla Canada, where Darren points out that you got the increased range and more, but it's gone. Rivian began sending the update out February 7th after several weeks of internal testing with employees. According to the release notes, one of the improvements was the key fob to increase the reliability and battery life, also to decrease latency for faster unlocking and locking. Unfortunately, internal testing did not detect a major bug, which resulted in 200 owners being locked out of vehicles, according to Rivian's support agent that spoke with an owner who was notified that an update was available, but found no such update when he went to install it several hours later because they pulled it out of his computer. Just read the instructions before you hit update. Same with the Tesla. If it says update, it says warning, then wait and read the warning, and then do what it says. It's basic. Same on your PC, your phone, and your Mac. If it says, hey, this is not a normal update, you gotta do some stuff, make note of what the stuff is, and you should probably either take a picture with your phone or other device if it's your phone that's doing this to you, or write it down. So that way when the next cycle comes through, if your stuff is down for the warning, you can address it. All right, so I think we're done with Rivian updates now. Yes, we are. This one was fun, and one you didn't expect to see. Michigan governors proposed the EV sales tax reduction. So all these states that we keep running into and talking about, they have what Dan likes to call the no gas tax. You don't burn gas, so we're going to charge you at the wazoo for more. And usually it's a number that doesn't relate to how much gas tax you would have generated in your fossil prior to going EV. Like in Virginia and South Carolina, for me, it was $400 and $500. For South Dakota, for me, it's $50, even though I don't burn much gas at all there if I were to go there and burn gas, because I'm kind of a remote resident. So Michigan's talking about getting rid of that, and I think that's kind of cool. They're saying that in connection with the federal EV tax credit, customers can see almost $10,000 in savings. So I'm guessing over a couple of years, they would have hit you for $3,500 to get to $10,000 from $7,500. It's a lot of gas.
Yeah. It's dirty that they did that kind of, that they were doing this kind of laws. They still are. It's just very anti-EV. I mean, it's usually probably pushed by the car dealer associations, and
that's usually who does it. Yeah,
they're bought and paid for senators. It's just not fair.
Right.
And then, I mean, we don't get too much into politics, but it's having the quote unquote road repairs coming out of gas taxes. It's not really fair anyway, because everybody uses the roads. Even people who don't have cars use the roads.
I'm not opposed to paying my share, but I don't like getting robbed.
Right.
You charge me more than a semi truck.
Well, it should just be a tax that comes that everybody has to pay, because everybody, I don't drive, but I ride somewhere. I have deliveries to my house.
Right. Who is it that's charging the per delivery fee? Is that Colorado?
I don't know. No,
I think it's Colorado. They charge you like 17 cents per delivery. And so, it's Colorado, because our buddy Paul, he won't deliver cars to customers' houses anymore because he doesn't want to have to collect the 17 cents and then report it. So you got to come to the shop, pick up your car.
Oh, crap.
I mean, it's a bargain on a car, but it's not worth the paperwork for him.
0.17.
Right. I'll sell you this car for 30 grand and 17 cents.
Gotta report it. Right.
Look, I made the numbers even so we don't have to deal with any mess. Oh, crap. Here's some mess. And I get the point. Like, they don't want the Amazon truck showing up at your house 4 times in one day. 17 cents per day. That's fine, one visit, but not 8 trips in a day. And if they do, they want you to notice it after a little while, and that's
Right.
fair. And this guy right here, DCI Penguin, has a really good point. He said, "Finally, it seems like a layup for a state where the Motor City resides." And I think that might be what is actually making Michigan consider doing the right thing here, because you got Ford going EV, you got GM leading in EVs, and then you got all the suppliers in the state. Yeah, it's about time.
That's right. Yeah, and now they're finally living up to their name of Motor City. They've actually been Engine City for the last 100 years.
Detroit Electric, 100 years ago, they were, and then they lost it. They became Engine City. Yeah. Oh, and you were telling us about this one earlier in the show. So in Oregon, with local incentives, you can get a Model 3 for $28,630 after incentives rebates. Not bad.
There's your $35,000. That's way less than your $35,000 dollar Tesla.
I like it, and since you get the tax credit from the dealer, consult your tax people, because I'm not a tax people. Then you might be able to get it all right now, rather than having to wait until April next year to deal with it, which is pretty cool.
Please consult your tax people, because that's an issue my brother had, because I kept pushing him to get the new, and he was like, "Dude, I need to have that tax credit taken off." At the time, it's not yet. You still have to use. It's still the same way. The old way. Yes, you have to buy the car.
So maybe that's one of the things coming in March.
Yeah, I think that change is coming later. So right now, if you buy now, you have to pay the full thing and apply for your tax credit later.
But the problem is, if you wait till March, the rules of the car you want might change enough that you now don't get any credit, or not enough.
Exactly. That's the thing. So so if you gotta look at your taxes, if you have enough tax
also
liability,
the foreign content of the car you want.
Right. So
including the battery.
So
whether it's union or not.
There's a lot of balls in the air. So this is what we know now. If you want to wait till March, you never know what's going to happen. And with this much demand, I would not be surprised if Tesla pops the prices back up some more.
They already started. The price has gone up $500 in China on the Model Y, and up $500 on a couple trims here in North America, or at least in the States anyway. So
it went
like we keep saying,
500, then 1,500 on the Y.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one. Yeah. So it's moving again. So again, what we keep saying, if you can afford it and it's what you want, get it today. Because if you wait, they may have more features, or the price may change, but you might not be happy with what comes. The price may be too high, or they may take away something you like lumbar support on the passenger seat.
I told all my friends, I said, look, get it now. You never know what's going to happen. Sure, it may go down. Not likely. This is the cheapest the car has ever been since they made it.
Right.
So it's not likely it'll go down. But
And like I said, they've been raising the price back up because the orders have been stretching, and they don't like a long order book, because stuff happens, and they don't want you to have an excuse for something happened and them to have to hold your order fee and angry customer and all that. Exactly. So I scrolled down on this one for a reason, because it had the name of the big game across the picture, and like I said, I don't want the big game people suing me, but they suggest that the Frito-Lay Tesla Semi will make an appearance on the big game in the commercials. We'll see. Mm-hmm. Dan says, or amendment return if you already filed it. Yeah, there's that, but if you just want it to be straight and not have to worry about redoing stuff, then strike now.
Yeah. For a lot of people, it just works out better if the car costs less at the time that you buy it. Is it not only you can amend your return, but then you still have to wait for the government to send you the check. You might be someone who may not get that check because you owe the government something that you didn't pay before. And then you're already set up with your payments with the bank. So you'd have to go to the bank and have them recalculate or re-amortize your loan so that you can get the lower payments.
If they'll even do it,
Yeah, right. So,
And then the other thing to worry about here is if you are going to do any of the lease loopholes, remember that Senator Manchin is after you. So if you, not after everybody, but if you're going to use lease loopholes for a car that should not qualify, like something that's all German or all Chinese, or you make too much money, he's going to try and claw it back. So set aside $7,500 to give back to the government. If you do the loophole and you know that you really shouldn't count. Like if you get a Lucid keeps doing this thing. Not that Lucid is German or anything, but they just cost too much. I would personally probably still try it. I mean, I'm one person, but also be aware that you may owe almost $10,000 back to the government next year.
Yeah, I think I talked to my CPA about that. That's how I do it. The car companies are not going to be the police of this. They just you show up, you get the credit, and then when you do your taxes, the IRS will say, "Oh, you got the credit. You made too much money. Thank you."
Go check out Internal Revenue Service.
Remember that $10,000 refund you were expecting?
Yeah, we take that. Yes. Okay, so this one is fun. Not the subject matter of it, because 2 people died, but remember last year when those 2 older gentlemen, I'm not saying they're old, they're just older than me. One was 59 and the other was 69. They were found in the back seat of their Tesla, like in the next lot from their house. It was crashed into a tree and was on fire. The media was like, "Oh, it's autopilot, blah blah blah." So then the crash test investigators and a bunch of Tesla owners went by the street and tried to turn on autopilot, and they couldn't. The crash test investigators secured a car that was the exact same batch as the car that crashed. So it was the same software, the same autopilot hardware, and the same everything. So that way, maybe not color, but it would have reacted the same way, and all they could do was get it to turn on cruise control. They couldn't get it to turn on auto steer. It was AP1, by the way, so they, it wouldn't have been full self-driving. Well, they've concluded their investigation. They found that not only was autopilot not on, the guy had never used it in the life of the car, not even once. So like the whole people was like, "Oh, he's going outside. He's gonna look at this, Bob." No, he never turned it on ever. And they found out that he was it 40 times over the legal limit and had other drugs in the system, not over-the-counter drugs like antihistamines or something, not illegal drugs. Not illegal drugs. So, but still well over the legal limit, which will do you on its own. And then to add in that one is a downer, right?
Which one?
The antihistamines.
Antihistamines. Yeah.
And then you've got there's multiple drugs in there plus whatever he probably have for prescriptions. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they found that the car was not at fault. He got up to
I think that's
70 miles an hour.
I think the sheriff.
It wasn't even the sheriff. It was a constable who wasn't even in that jurisdiction running his suck.
He just came right in and said, "Oh yeah, this is autopilot. Teslas are killing people." It just why won't they learn a little bit before they start talking? But I do still have a question. They found him in the back seat, right? So are they saying he got into the back seat somehow, or I think they suspect someone else was driving and got away?
No, that was one of the other speculations, like why are they in the back seat? So they suggested that because they crashed the car at high speed and now it was on fire, they weren't initially incapacitated, so they tried to work their way to the back seats, but apparently the power had already ended, and they didn't know, like from my video on the channel about how to get out of the back seat of a Model S, from introduction to refresh. It's all the same way. There's a little loop in the carpet, you pull it, and it'll unlatch the back doors. They didn't know how to get out of the back doors, and they were stuck. And they burned a lot.
I see. So they didn't show. I guess I didn't know in what position they were found. They weren't sitting in the back seat in seatbelts.
They weren't in seatbelts.
They were just kind of back there.
Yeah. I mean, because even if you're in the seat trying to operate the door, it's still going to be most ergonomic to sit in the seat.
Right.
But that's also the most ergonomic way to operate the emergency release. So you're going to take your hand on the outboard hand. So I'm sitting in the. I guess it doesn't matter which way I'm sitting because it's reverse camera or not. The outboard hand, you reach down, and you start at the door at the where the floor and the seat meet. You feel until you feel a break in the carpet. You stick your finger in there and you pull out the pull tab. And then you pull the tab, and it will release the latch, and then you can push the door open easily. On the Model 3 and the Model Y, there is a cable in the door. On the Model 3, I don't think they've actually fixed this yet. On the Model 3, there's no way to get to this cable unless you've modified your door beforehand. On the Model Y, it was harder to do. You needed like some sort of screwdriver or pry tool nearby after you pulled out the rubber floor of the door pocket in there to reach it. But the newer Model Ys actually make it very easy to reach the pull cable. And then on all the front doors, the old ones you just pull harder, and that will make them go on a further travel to then pop the doors manually. And on all the refresh cars and the Model 3 and the Model Y, you pull up on the emergency release, the one that always yells at you, don't use it. You pull up on that, and then you push the door open. On the Model X Falcon doors, all of them, you'll have to pull the speaker grill off, and then look for the silver pull tab and pull it, and then push really hard because the doors are heavy, and then you can get out. Or at least, if you teach your kid how to do that, they can get the door to pop, and then adrenaline will take over when people hear a screaming child, and they can lift that door up just like the mother who lifts the car up for kids.
It's still a lot. I mean,
oh yeah,
so imagine your car is upside down and on fire, and now you've got to navigate this. It's smoke, and
I think it should be a nice, easy glow in the dark.
Should be a little easier. Should be a little easier.
If it locks in the front somehow, there's a nice, easy glow in the dark button you can push.
Right, just push this and it pops open. But yeah, for me to be in a car that's upside down and on fire,
if you're in anything but a rear-wheel drive Model S from 2016 and earlier, I think you get a problem if you're in the front because they small. But the original front could hold grown adults in it.
If you're in the front of that car, you're already chopped up.
Much, or just severely folded. Especially the new ones. Oof, they're small.
Yikes.
Yeah. So back to this. I don't know that you'll actually hear the update anywhere else. But you'll hear it on like EV sites and Tesla sites, which I don't know that you'll hear it anywhere. Like Reuters is covering it. Like they didn't make it an ad. It's just an article. They just kind of here's a correction.
Right. They're not going to start flashing news, breaking news.
Right. It's not going to be on the front page. So the Tesla traveled 550 feet before, or 167.64 meters before departing the road on a curve, driving over the curb and hitting a drainage culvert, a raised manhole, and a tree, and then caught fire. Because now the battery has hit all these things at high speed, and even the slow Teslas back then were able to really get up to, even slow Teslas now, we're really able to get up to speed. So 550 feet, you can be extra legal. And in the crash, he got to 67 miles per hour on a street rated for 30 miles per hour, just like two lots from his house. Like you could see his house from where this all went down. And but like I say, I can be at 60 miles an hour across a larger intersection from the green light to before I get across the intersection. Smaller intersection, I can be at 45, 50 before crossing the other side of the intersection. Whether that's legal for that street is depends, but the car can do it. So anyway, NTSB said Tesla's assistant system, traffic-aware cruise control, was capable of being engaged, but the maximum speed possible on this roadway was 30 miles an hour. The evidence indicated that TAC was not engaged during the crash trip. They make safety investigations. I'm looking for the one that says, here we go. NTSB testing confirmed that autopilot feature could not have been engaged on the roadway where the crash occurred due to lack of lane markings. And the footage from the owner's home security system. So he was in view of his house. Like his home camera saw him crash his car. Showed the owner entering the driver's seat, the passenger entering the front passenger seat, and then in the crash they found him in the back seats. The available evidence suggests the driver's seat and the driver's seat at the time of the crash moved to the rear seat. It was not possible to determine whether the doors were manually operational following the power loss. And does this article say that he never used it? if not this one, there was another one that read from the same report that showed that he never turned the system on. So obviously the system didn't steer himself off there. Dan said that's exactly what will happen when you owe us money. He would take this credit. Exactly. Especially if you owe the money before you get the credit. They'll definitely take it right then and there. Yeah, so I'm not seeing the section in this article that says it, but maybe it was another article I read, but like literally the guy never turned it on. All right, so then this one from Redwood, J.B. Strobel's battery recycling company, they've received a $2 billion loan from the U.S. DOE. Redwood says they'll use it to support phased construction and allows us to unlock funding as we accelerate our construction and expansion of our first battery materials campus. So this is important because if you can't use the batteries whole, like we saw at the beginning of the show, in a used battery facility, then you'll want to recycle them into something new. And Redwood having the money to help build themselves a new factory will help with this because you got lithium, nickel, cobalt. They all require space and processes and safety. And so what Redwood does that's kind of unique is they freeze dry everything to the point where it's so cold that even if it were to catch fire or would catch fire normally, it just doesn't have enough energy in its molecules to do that. So they chop it up, and then as it warms up, it's now pretty much inert. And then they use regular processes, either chemical or mechanical or like physical, like certain materials will float at different densities. And so they're able to then say, all right, this is all this types of metal. And then from there, they can say, all right, we dump this chemical in and we only get back lithium hydroxide or whatever the case may be. And it's really cool. And congratulations on them for getting $2 billion to make the world a better place and make themselves a little bit of profit in the meantime. So then I talked about Lucid earlier. Lucid has another 7,500. Go ahead.
No, I just read what that's such an important thing to be able to recycle those batteries and reuse those batteries. So I think you were saying, I read the article, of course, that some will be broken down to the elements and recycled, and others can just be repurposed.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. I'll take one of those repurposed, just stick it right next to my power wall.
Right.
So I just finished a book called Red Cobalt. I don't know if you've heard of this one.
I haven't.
But it talks about just about the cobalt supply chain, the artisanal miners in a Democratic Republic of Congo, and how their plight of just basically modern day slavery. And no matter where you think your cobalt for your batteries, no matter what Tesla or Samsung or anybody else says they're coming from, it's coming from DRC and it's coming from children labor.
Yeah.
And not to blame anybody or tell anybody that they shouldn't do this, because we have to go electric. But it just is something I wanted to look more into. You can't be on Facebook without somebody pointing that out. Oh, yeah, your battery's from child labor, but I didn't want to.
And that was something that was really cool. We looked at a couple of weeks ago, where Audi and Tesla gave us a preview of their battery report card template, because a couple of nations are going to require a battery report card to show you the true where all your stuff came from. And I noticed that on both manufacturers there were these big gaping holes in the stuff, and they say it was because it was a preview, but I say it's because they didn't want to say.
They don't have a way. They just don't have a way to clean it up yet. They don't.
Right, and so by the time this takes effect, they won't have a choice, and you'll be able to audit this yourself. Well, not you, but like the government will be able to go audit what shows up on your batteries. Where I came from sticker.
So these things, but these things are cobalt. These things are elements, so they are relatively infinitely recyclable. I mean, once you take it out of a battery, it's the same stuff. So you could get to where Elon says that J.B. Strobel says they'll be where we don't even need to dig it up anymore.
Exactly.
So
but we need enough space to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's certainly a good thing, so that now these places will not be able to exploit the labor that way. But I just hope that those countries find a way to bring some value to their country before they're not needed anymore. It's like, okay, we've got enough from you. We don't need it anymore, because we could just keep recycling away. Right. So,
Yeah.
but they haven't really grown their industrial base from it,
Right.
because
And
they're
we're going to see the
literally
same thing with
digging
a
this
lot of these
stuff up.
countries that are purely petrochemical.
Mhm.
They're going to have a sharp drop as well. And
Right, right.
some of them are getting ready. Like Saudi Arabia is talking about
Yeah.
by 2060 they're going to have some stuff done. But is 2060 enough time? Like, are they going to be like the last one still selling the stuff while they make the transition
Saudis,
or
yeah.
not?
I just got back from Saudi. They're trying, but they
Yeah.
are still behind. They're not moving as fast, I would say, as Dubai, Abu Dhabi, the Emirate countries.
Norway.
Norway.
Because
They're
Norway is a
really
major oil exporter, and they're ready.
right,
Yeah.
right. The other ones are really. Yeah, that's what I'm over there. My sister works over there as a teacher. Oh my gosh, she would cut me if I said teacher. She is a PhD level educator who trains their principals how to be principals. But the point is
Wow.
that they're trying to um, build their institutions so that
Yeah.
they can get off of it, so that they can offer more, and not have to be subservient to just dig up oil.
Exactly. So Lucid is going to do a $7,500. They can't do the tax break. So if you choose not to do the lease loophole,
Right.
they've lowered their price $7,500 to compensate. Cool stuff.
Mhm.
I think that's the second time they've done it too. So they might be $1,400 cheaper, $14,000 cheaper than they used to be. This one we talked about in another article earlier. I'm curious what your opinion is on this. They want the PWS to be on all electric vehicles, but they're doing something unprecedented. They want to go back to cars built as far back as 1997. Typically, with a safety feature, it's only going forward from when they make the law or the rule or whatever. But now they want to go back. The cars don't even have a provision for it.
This is crazy. This is crazy. I still see the oil company and the gas car companies fingerprints on it. So I think that was the reason why they put it on in the first place, is to make electric cars less desirable, because you can get into any relatively modern gas car and it's silent at low speeds.
The only ones you don't hear, or that you do hear, are like the ones meant to be loud, like the Charger, Challenger, and the pickup trucks. Everything else is like
any
you have to be
Honda
listening
Accord.
real hard.
We're going to put this only on EVs. It's just to make them less desirable. That's why I like Elon's take on it. It's like, okay, you're going to make us do it, then we'll put music out of it. Because he saw through it right away. This is just to try to make them less desirable. But yeah,
what he should have done is make it always fart, except when most people buy the car. But then they would be more likely to remove it rather than say, "Hey, you can't make custom sounds."
But no, I like Ryan McCaffrey's take on it. I just listened to him this morning, Ride the Lightning. He's like, there's it's always been moving forward. You can't. They made the cars based on the rules at the time, and now you're going to change the rules. It's like if they change the big game rules after the game's over.
Now touchdowns worth 8 points.
Exactly. You can't do that. So no, if that's what you want.
The old touchdowns made before are also worth 8 points. Well, hold on.
Exactly.
It's even worse.
So yeah, you can't do that. So no. And then who's going to pay for this? Now I have to pay for this?
Right, that's what I said. I don't mind my car making the noise, but I'm not going to pay for the speaker and the service.
If I get to add the sounds like Elon does, like my wife's
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I want to make it fart, but if it's just going to go,
and give me my remote CenturyView at that point too.
Right. But it's not just the paying for it. Sure, I don't have to pay for it. But what about my time of dealing without my car? For how long is it going to take to fix it?
Because you have to go to the shop at this point, and
right.
Since the car wasn't built with that in mind, it might not be trivial. It could be many hours of service.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's hoping they put your car back together right. If you have a 1997, some stuff might break that's not in production anymore.
Exactly.
It's been out of production for 20 years.
Yeah, so that's a lot.
Yeah. Or as we saw on Wednesday, we were talking with Paul on What Drives Us. there are some volt heater components that are not in service anymore, even though the car is less than 10 years old.
Hmm.
Well, at least the last ones are newer than 10 years
Right.
old. The initial ones are just at 10 years old now. And you're required to provide parts for service and warranties and stuff for 10 years. And that was always one of GM's arguments for why Tesla shouldn't be allowed, because, well, what if your dealer goes out of business? Well, there we go. We got you. And then people say, what about Hummer and Oldsmobile? Well, then somebody's got you because the parts were there. Well, the Volt is still made by Chevrolet. Chevrolet, no heaters. Sorry. So imagine if they break my heater while they're putting in the noise maker. I'm in a bad spot. So let's do something more fun. You've got Powerwalls. You're in California. Were you able to participate in this virtual power plant function?
I did not.
Oh.
I did not. I probably should have, but I'm just too greedy. Because we use it all. So
I got you. So what's happening here is some folks who did participate in the virtual power plant functionality, they saw checks anywhere from $100 to $500 and some odd dollars come in the mail, or are in the mail now, depending on where you are from where they sent them, and that was pretty cool. $500 real dollars back.
Zach and Jesse warned me that this could happen, and you should do it. I said, be okay. No, I want $500.
Right. So this guy that shared with Electrek said, "Hi, Mark. Thank you for participating in the California Emergency Load Reduction Program through the Tesla Virtual Power Plant. By supporting the grid with your Powerwall in 2022, you earned $574.77. He should have said $600 on the title. Your payment has been mailed to you at the address associated with your Tesla account. To learn more about the program participation, incentive payments, and how to configure your system for the coming season, visit our support page. Regards, the Tesla team." So it's not too late to sign up for 2023, though.
I'll consider. I know the details. So, I mean, how much of his Powerwall is he carting off? How much is he?
Our friend Patrick in Oregon, when he's dispatched, they can dispatch up to, I think, 3 or 5 kilowatt hours, but he's got 2 Powerwalls, so that's not a lot.
All right. So so I'll do. I think during Stormwatch, I'll leave mine at 20% reserve. Yeah. So yeah, I know I'm on a deal now where I can't. There's some kind of deal I have where I needed to use my whole Powerwall,
right?
In order to get the discount I got to get it. But I know during when it's a storm, I can save some of it. So I had it going at 20%. So if I can probably get by at 80%.
There you go. Check out carswithcords.net, and he's got some articles on his participation. One thing he found out is that if you're in Stormwatch and Tesla decides they're going to ramp your Powerwall to 100%, and then his power plant says we need 6 kilowatt hours or whatever his agreement was, that takes precedent. So it'll Stormwatch to 100, and it'll come back down to whatever they dispatched.
Okay.
Because he could have canceled either one, but he's like, I want to see what happens when these two things fight, and that's what he found out. He wins.
Of course they do.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. This was compensation for 297 kilowatt hours to the grid through 10 events, 26 hours with the VPP. Most other homeowners reporting payments between $300 and $400. So let's see.
So it's looking at almost 300 to the grid over a year.
Yeah, so $500, $570, I say, divided by 297 kilowatt hours. They paid him almost $2 a kilowatt hour.
I'm doing it.
Because I don't pay that much now. I think I'm 13 or 15 or whatever they're up to now. I probably should find out what I'm paying for power, but most of the time, all of our power is wiped out by the solar, so I don't have to think about it.
I'm at 21. California is expensive. That's off peak overnight.
But still, $1, almost $2 is way more than.
I know. Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, do it. All right, let's see what's up next. We've got IDRA has introduced a new IDRA, however you want to say them. The Italian press maker has a new gigapress called Neo.
That's good. I got to run.
All right.
It's good hanging out.
You too. Enjoy the big game.
Go team.
Go one of teams. Yes. So they're tweeting out. This is GigaPress Neo. And I think that's pretty fun because more presses is always means more product. Neo is designed specifically for the manufacturer's new platform, and this will be amazing news. So, if Neo is designed specifically, okay, so this could be for Highland, or it could be for Model Next. We'll see what happens with that. Then we had the cool news of the Super Heavy booster having its static fire. So they had intended to light all 33 engines, and instead they lighted 31 engines. One failed and one was turned off on purpose. But it was enough to reach orbit, and it was locked down, obviously. They weren't sending the booster to orbit without a payload. That would have been disastrous because it's not built for those kind of loads. That's kind of cool. And then, like, on the other view, you saw like all the birds were scared. It was impressive, and I was glad to see it. I'm going to try to make sure that I can get my family out to see one of these Starship launches. We saw the first Falcon Heavy, and then we also saw the first Crew Dragon demo, the empty one with the mannequin. So that was fun. All right, so then we've got a weird Alibaba, a couple tweets, and something that's really cool about a certain plug-in hybrid. Let's start with this first tweet. What's it doing? There we go. All right, so Tesla's entered into an agreement with NStar Inc. for a massive $438 million megapack project in Ontario. This 250 megawatt, 1 gigawatt hour project is expected to be completed in 2025. And the project will be among the largest of its kind anywhere in the world. I think this might be the first one we've seen with a gigawatt hour of storage. They've always been, lots of megawatt hours, and some reasonable amount of megawatts at one time. That's pretty cool. The project, in terms of revenue, is estimated equivalent to almost 8,000 Model Y long ranges. Wow. And roughly 257 megapacks are in this project. The project will help Ontario reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 4.1 million tons, or the equivalent of taking 40,000 cars off the road every year. And then they've got a press release right here on Global Newswire. Relatively small 15% discount for such a big order, even though in-store likely did not get the benefit of IRA's. No, they didn't get the credit because IRA is a US thing, and you guys are in Canada. Still, to get any discount is pretty cool. All right, and moving on to the next one. So another weird Alibaba car is it's a little 50 horsepower electric UTV. It's kind of like the one we showed off last week, the Kilo, and so 37.5 kilowatts, and it's not going to be up against the Polaris at 80 kilowatts, no. And $16,500. That's not bad. I mean, it looks cool. I don't really have a need for a UTV right now, but if I did, I'd look at this and then probably buy something else. Knowing me. Oh, that's cool. It's got a video. Hopefully there's no music in it. All right, it's spinning and appears to be gaseous. All right. So that was fun. We're going to put a dot next to this one too. Let's go to this next one. We'll share tab instead. All right, so I did find the BZ4X and Subaru Solterra facing a recall in June last year. Now they have it again. We talked about that at the beginning of the show. If the peak DC charging rate of 100 kilowatt wasn't enough to persuade you from buying it, I don't know what else is. It's pretty compelling. The wheels falling off. Both use lug bolts instead of the tried and true lug nuts and studs. Oh, interesting. Let's look that up. What the heck is the difference between lug bolt instead of lug nut and stud? Oh. I don't know why it's pulled up like that because this is a lug bolt. Um, a lug nut is like this, and it goes over the threads like this. But the lug bolt appears to have the thread in it already. And that could be part of why Toyota had trouble. It's a new part, but again, it's a fastener. So you've been making cars for almost 100 years. You should be able to do this. All right, let's go back to the tweet. Any connection to the Toyota recall in the earlier post? And let's see. Hope their heating still works. Second time for the same issue. Seriously. Straight garbage. Sarkandala, the front fell off. Step one, design the car. Step two, make sure the wheels don't fall off. Step three, sell the car. All right. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Legacy is coming. All right. So moving on. So this is something that I found matches up with what I always see. I am forever seeing these Jeep 4XEs plugged into the the free 1772 chargers, J1772 chargers out and about in wherever I'm traveling. I'm sure a lot of it is just because of the proximity to the building. It's just closer to the building, and with it being free, who doesn't like free gas? Um, but Jeep says that it's actually a little more than this. So what's going on here is Jeep confirms that the PHEV buyers are really actually plugging in, whereas what we find with like the corporate plug-in cars, like the Bolt and the Ford, what was that thing called? The C-Max and the Fusion. All these other plug-in hybrids are not getting plugged in if they're company cars, typically. And that's not the case with the Jeep, and that might be because they're personal cars. Because what you found with the Volt and all the others is if it was somebody's personal car, they tended to plug it in wherever they could, and that seems to be the case here as well with the 4xe. Let's see. Do people really take advantage of batteries and charge up? Sure, it can save you lots of fuel, but are people actually taking the time to plug in regularly? After all, it's not like if you can't drive if you don't do it. This is true. He said that Jeep and presumably other Stellantis brands are able to get charging data from plug-in hybrid owners. And while he didn't want to give specific numbers on how much and how frequent charging is, he said that it was easily the majority of buyers and hinted that it was nearly all of them. That's pretty cool. Morrison noted that buyers are charging up frequently, and he said that the customers are really liking the experience of being able to do a lot of driving on full electric power for the fuel savings and the quiet. I mean, I was always saying, why not make a full electric Jeep? Like, you're out there in nature. Why not have the ultimate control that you get from an EV over having to kind of balance everything with the gas or diesel? And on top of that, you can actually hear, what's going on with your tires, and you can hear nature. And I thought that would be kind of a good fit. And apparently, some people feel that way. But with the hybrid, because Jeep doesn't make an electric yet. Let's see. Seems like a great way to introduce people to the benefits of fully electric car. Yeah, that's what we keep saying. For the individual people, plug-in hybrids are a good set of training wheels. For the companies, it irritates me to no end because most of them use it as, oh, we got a plug-in hybrid, we're done. But for the people, I don't blame you. If it's your first time, hey, will electric work for me? All right, this has got 30 miles of range. I can do most of my driving. I can figure out if it works for me. That's great. Yeah. I don't want to buy one. What is this? Anyway, so I've got some more stuff in the phone, but I'll let you guys go for the big game. And I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank our patrons and channel members for your monetary contributions. Appreciate that. And we will catch you next week. And what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and immediately dump the items that are in the phone into next week's notepad, our notepad show notes. And that way, they're still relevant. And anything that's already irrelevant, I'll just delete. close the tab, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you.